Hi guys, and welcome back. We have a very special live stream today. It is the Death Before Dishonour Champions Special. We have a lot of our previous champions returning, plus one extra lucky contestant coming to duke it out and battle it out on the live stage for you all guys. And I see we already have a first comment. What's up, Consul of Rome? He's going to be one of our first competitors. So we do have the returning champions of
Hi guys,
Zach
and
welcome back. We have a very special live stream today. It is the Death Before Dishonour Champions Special. We have a lot of our previous... Boop. There we go, sorry about that. I had my own stream playing back to me, which isn't too good. So we do have the returning champions of Zach Be Sane, Ben the Barman, and Worship. Consul of Rome is stepping in for Falcon, who unfortunately we couldn't get hold of. And he's going to be he was a runner-up, I believe, in our second ever, or possibly first ever, Death Before Dishonour. So he shall make an absolutely fantastic champion. These guys are going to be battling out for once and for all to prove who is the greatest and best champion of Death Before Dishonour. We're going to be starting up on top of Troll Country here, and we're just waiting for Worship to get in, and we're good to go. So it's going to be Consul of Rome up against Worship in round 1. Round 2 is going to be Zach Be Sane up against Ben the Barman, who is the OG champion who won our first ever event. I believe Zach Be Sane actually took the title from him, so that'll be a nice little rematch. And I believe Consul of Rome and Worship also played up against each other in the... last Death Before Dishonour, so my mouth isn't working quite yet. And I believe that was a close 2-1 series. So it'd be good to see. Hope you're all doing good today. Good to get a few of you guys up in here. I see we've got a few watching. What's up, what's up, what's up? And I'll just drop Worship a comment and let him know we're good to go. But I think he may be in the middle of a practice game at the second. It's all good with a couple of minutes. We're, of course, very, very chill here. And it's going to be fun. I hope you're doing all good today. Now, I apologise if I start coughing at any point. If you saw my stream yesterday, you'll know that I unfortunately had to go to hospital and have a camera put down my throat into my stomach, which has left me with a bit of a terrible sore throat. And then I came home and did a 2.5-hour stream, but that is not my fault. It was meant to be an hour long, and we ended up extending it quite heavily, just because more people just kept up wanting to come in and play. So we hosted a few games, played a few games, and got to try out the new units. In today's tournament, though, there is going to be no pressure at all for anyone to use any new units, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of changes. And in steps the mighty Worship. So Consul of Rome up against Worship. Cool, so these guys have played against each other before. We're going to let them do a gentleman's agreement. I think they may have already sorted out matchups off screen, but we'll just let them do that now. Cool. First map is Troll Country. Rather small map. I like using it to start off tournaments as it's straight in there with the action, though both these factions do mainly focus on range. Now, the Dowie against Pirates. I feel this favours the Vampires fairly heavily. They seem to be able to outrange almost any faction. But it should be interesting. Consul Rome, obviously an experienced Dowie player, so we'll see what tricks he up his sleeve. I would quite like to see a Vanguard Ranger, Bugman Ranger type build. Could work fairly well here, a little Dowie rush. So I see we've got a few more people have joined in. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, also welcome. Please do leave like, subscribe, all that kind of good YouTube stuff to support the competitors today. And as I said, round 1, Consul of Rome up against Worship. Round 2, the mighty Zach Be Sane taking on the OG champion, Ben the Barman. I believe they have some scores to settle. I believe Zach Be Sane took Ben the Barman's championship 2-1 in a very hotly contested final. So it'd be great to have those guys back. Of course, all of our competitors have played in this tournament before, so we have all the champions returning, apart from Falcon, who unfortunately we couldn't get hold of, so Consul of Rome, brave warrior of the people, has stepped up to take his place and jump into the very, very scary batch of players we have. Hope you guys are prepared. I know these guys are just sorting out their armies as we speak. Yes, we are going to be trying out unit caps. They are going to be toggled on, and we are doing Warhammer Cup rules. Everything else will be kept the same, though. Large funds, not large armies. 60-minute time limit. I mean, we're never going to reach that, so it's basically unlimited. And the maps for round 1 are going to be Troll Country, followed by a name I cannot say, Grimminhagen, and Pillar of Bone. And it is best of 3 in these matchups. Hey, Park Map, what's up, dude? Nice to see you, my dude. Yeah, I'm not too bad, man. I'm Not 100%, but I'm getting there. I'm happy to just be commentating today and not playing. Great to have you involved in the stream though, man. But eventually, we'll have to get you onto one of these. So Death Before Dishonour will be starting anew, either next week or the week afterwards. After this, the Ultimate Champion has been crowned. Of course, we'll be welcomed back. We'd like great to get some of the old players back, but also some new blood. So Park Map, if you do want to play in a tournament, man, you know where to find me. Cool, Russia is just getting ready. It looks like Consul Rome is ready himself, but there is no rush. We don't do time limits or any of that kind of rubbish. It's a very chilled out tournament. So we do like to try and bring in some new players who haven't played in many tournaments before, and we mix them in with some experienced players. As I find the unexperienced players, they are on a little bit of a back foot. However, they come and bring some off-meta picks, which can really, catch people off guard. And we've seen some fantastic games from underdogs over our first 4 tournaments. I'm sure we'll see it again today. I don't think I have a favourite for this event. I don't know who's going to win it. It really is open. I believe either of the 2 first heats here could go either way. Both players have played each other before, both matchups, and they've both ended 2-1. So, it is anyone's game here. Do you guys have a favourites in chat? If you do, please leave a comment. Just, supporting your homies. And, give them a good shout and all your love and support. And of course, a massive shout out to all our competitors for competing today, especially Consul of Rome, who has stepped in on the day to kind of take the place of one of the champions. But should be good fun. I'm very, very excited to get going. I'm kind of itching to get going now, so just waiting for these guys to pop off. It should be good. I think the others are doing practice games at the moment, just getting warmed up. It's nice to see them taking it fairly seriously, even though, we are a very chilled out tournament. Just quickly check the Discord to make sure we don't have any messages. Nope, looks like we are all good and ready to rumble. So let me know how the stream's going as well. Hopefully the quality and sound quality is all good. I may be speaking a little bit quieter today just because of my sore throat, but cool. Consul of Rome is ready, just waiting on Worship. So last time these guys played, Worship did win 2-1, but this is a faction he lost with before, the Vampirates, but he was coming up against Empire, Consul of Rome, but in a lot of cheap troops and mass crossbowmen, which really won him the game. So he may try a similar tactic with the Dowie, coming up with Quarrelers and Rangers and so forth to kind of mow down the zombies, and just some mighty Dwarf Warriors in the front. You don't need anything too elite up against the Vampirates, although they can bring Depth Guard, but, they're quite a risky pick with so much range on the field. So yes, welcome everyone. I see our views are going up and down, so people are dropping in, dropping out, and just seeing what we're all about. Yo, Ben the Barman, what's up, man? The OG champion come to prove once and for all he's the true champion of Death Before Dishonour. It looks like we're ready to go here with our first group. Should be exciting. I'm actually really buzzed. I've been buzzing all day about this, seeing these high-level players go toe-to-toe with each other. So we've specially selected the maps. They should all be fairly balanced. A few of them in the later rounds are a little bit interesting. New ones we haven't had on the channel before, just to throw in some tactical, mix-ups. Cool, and we are loading in now. All these players have played each other before, so we shouldn't really experience any lag. I should be good on my end, I believe. So yeah, Troll Country, very small map, but does allow a little bit of vanguard. There's a few trees dotted around the place. There's some hills as well if you want to take defensive positions, which I can see both players really wanting to do, but will they be allowed to? I mean, Vampires are just so hard to outshoot, even for the mighty Dowie. We might end up seeing some flame cannons, you never know. They are quite short range, risky pick against other artillery, but they do great damage to the zombies, and they have been reduced in cost, which is pretty damn good. So that should be all good. Cool, it looks nice and misty here on the fields. A little bit of snow coming down, which is always good to see. And let's wait for these players to load in. Don't worry, the loading time has nothing to do with lag or anything. It is merely down to the computers. And here we are, both players have dropped in. So let's have a little look at Consul of Rome's army today. So in the front line, he has gone for some cheap and cheerful miners. Surprisingly, oh no, they are the ones with blasting charges. Some of them have blasting charges, some do not. Highly recommend blasting charges when coming up against such foes. Now, the rest of his main line, he does have Dowie Warriors mixed in here. Looks like just the basic variety all the way along. And a couple of units of Longbeards, looks like 3. He does have a unit, 2 units in fact, of Slayers. Not the Dragonback ones, just the standard ones. And in the back, 2 units of Quarrelers, 2 units of Thunders. I like the mix up here. You have the Quarrelers to take down the cheap troops and the Thunders to take down any nasty crabs. Now for a Lord, we do just have a basic Lord. Consul of Rome does like to bring just his basic cheap Lords. And here we see the Dowie Lord. He has got star metal plate on him, and obviously stand your ground. He's standing next to Runesmith, who has brought all of his runes by the looks of it. So very nice solid build here. Going to be taking quite a defensive approach. Looks like he does have some Dwarf Warriors with great weapons in that as well. But no cannons or anything. He's expecting to have to push forward. Now let's have a little look at Worshia's build today. Up in the sky, he does have Luther Harkin, who is fantastic in this matchup with his armor-piercing shots. And he has brought a bucket ton of spells and abilities. Power Siphon, Death Shriek, that is from the Terrorgeist, Magical Void, the Hunger, Extra Powder, all the good stuff that comes with him naturally. He does have a triple silver chevron carronade, definitely looking to outgun the Dowie here, and he's backing up here with two zombie pirate gunnery mobs with the handguns. Looks like he also has a couple of deckhand mobs, just the standard variety, no pole arms here. And oh, gangster, he has brought Queen Bess herself, the giant cannon. This can really pay off up against the Dowie, especially if they blob up. Good news for Consul of Rome is he's already expecting to push forward and not, spend too much money on artillery. He's definitely going to want to shut that bad boy down. And an interesting pick here, the animated Hulks. Haven't seen these guys in action much at all. Not in competitive play at all. The models themselves do look very cool, however. I believe they have received a bit of a buff in the latest patch. So nice to see these guys coming into play. And I think that pretty much sums up his army, apart from in the back here. He does have the Night Terrors, Regiment Renowned Mongols. Going to do Going to do an absolute hammering. They do pretty damn good. And we do have some Sirens, who, of course, the Dowie will struggle up against now that Rune of Wrath and Ruin has been changed to just a slow and no longer does magic damage. So overall, some very cool builds. Looks like we also have some Scurvy Dogs on the flanks. Yeah, and I'm good to let these guys go whenever they're ready. Cool, let them know it's good to go. Have a quick little check on chat while these guys are just lining up. Yeah, part map, no worries, man. Trust me, you'll do fine. Sweet, guys. Ben the Barman, grabbing a few drinks. I believe if Ben the Barman wins, there's an unsaid rule he has to buy everyone drinks at his work. So let's all back Ben the Barman to win. Cool, so as we can see, the Mighty Dowie are advancing. Consul of Rome, of course, knowing he's not going to be winning any artillery engagements. And the first big shot from Queen Bessie is coming in now. And let's see what it's aiming for. Probably those Thunderers straight up. And boom! Nearly a perfect shot. Those Thunderers instantly torn apart, down to 46 models. That is a huge strike, and instantly another one does come in. Now, Queen Bess is notoriously inaccurate, however. So we'll see how the second shot does. Another perfect hit on these Quarrelers, dragging them down to 43 models and almost breaking them. Fantastic value straight out of the gate, up to 31 kills. Let's get rid of that tooltip though for a bit more cinematic action. The third shot coming in, surely. Another perfect hit. This is ridiculous. 3 perfect hits from the very inaccurate. I mean, it could have been aiming at the Quarrelers for all we know, but great hit onto the Longbeards. See if there's any in chat. Just saying ready. Good. Looks like the cannon is doing shots into the Dowie Lord, joined in by the zombie pirate gunnery mob, doing a decent amount of damage. Not a bad target at all. The dwarfs are charging upfield here, trying to get to grips with this mighty army, which is very nicely spread out. I'm very much liking the deployment here from Worship. Cool, we have the next shot coming in, and it looks like it's going to be a direct hit again. I do not know how on earth Queen Bess has hit so many shots. There is no gunnery white round there to aid with any aiming or anything, and I don't think Queen Bess got a buff, but who knows. Luther Harkin stalking around the back, getting those pistol shots onto the Lord. Very nice play here, bringing him round into the rear to mitigate some of that melee defense and armor. So the Slayer's taken a half hit there, nothing too bad there. And these Dwarf Warriors are going to be able to advance on top of this carronade very easily. I'm assuming there's going to be some counterplay by the Lamprey's Revenge, who we missed earlier. Regiment Renowned little Krabby Patties here. Shotguns on top, and they're going to come in to try and protect this gun. But in return, I mean, it is going to get shut down by the Dwarf Warriors in the meantime. And yeah, what initially looked like a really good deployment got a little bit lackluster there, but I suppose the Lamprey's Revenge are going to kill out the Dwarf Warriors. If that cannon is on guard mode, which I'm sure it is, it should be fine to fire away. Shriek coming in, but unfortunately it just clips the very edge of the units there, not doing really any damage to those Quarrelers. Instead, he's taking quite a lot of firepower himself. Dwarf Lord, however, is being picked apart. He's trying to hide inside his miners, but Luther Harkin's armor-piercing shots are a little bit too much. Now over on the flanks here, Dowie are fighting strong. We've got Dwarf Warriors who have been able to beat down some animated hulks with the aid of some fire. However, Scurvy Dogs are rallying and going to be charging in, trying to shut down these Quarrelers as quick as possible. Up in the high ground, we do have some Longbeards and Miners trying to force their way through to Queen Bess. Zombie Pirate Deckhand mob being roadblock here. Overall power balance is very slightly in Worshia's favour, probably because of these huge amounts of damage Queen Bess has managed to pull in. Quarrelers and Thunderers, though, shooting down Luther Harkin, doing a bit of good focus fire, and the Dowie now are in the back line. These Dwarf Warriors really need to start scooting up and moving. They're just standing there staring down these zombie pirate gunnery mobs. They need to get on and shut them down as quick as possible. Carronade is back online, but it is obstructed and not firing properly. These Lampreys of Range doing a fantastic job holding the line, however. Now, it looks like the Dowie Lord has been finished off and sniped by Luther Harkin, which is a big loss to the Dowie. However, they do have fantastic leadership, and they should still be able to stay and fight. And let's have a little look. The Runesmith is going over here, trying to beat down the Sirens. Not a bad pick. Slayer's in there as well. For the Dowie are slowly starting to run out of steam here, as the power of balance does ebb slightly in the favour of Worship. With Longbeards, who will be able to beat down these zombie pirate deckhand mobs, but not super quickly and efficient. They really need to shut down Queen Bess. Now, if we have a look, 78 kills. Looks like it's been missing a little bit more since we did last look, but a fantastic shot coming in there, tearing apart these Longbeards and really turning the tide of that melee. If we have an overarching view of the battlefield, Luther Harkin is getting pounded down by these Thunderers and Quarrelers. He needs to be a little bit careful. Great Scurvy Dog play, but the Dowie are pretty resilient in combat, even for ranged troops. Front line, it is starting to fall apart slightly, but it looks like the Lamprey's Revenge has gone down. Some Slayers getting in there and doing some decent work. They need to shut down these Carronade, but fantastic cross-play here by Worshia. He's got one unit of range over here, one here, and a cannon in the middle. You cannot shut down all three of them in one go, and they will get that crossfire. Now in the front, it looks like the Night Terrors are rampaging up against Longbeards, which is a pretty good matchup for them. And over here, the Runesmith is slowly beating down those Sirens, who of course are ethereal and are resistant to mundane attacks. We've got a few blasting charges coming from the miners onto these zombie pirate deckhands. I would take these miners personally and just run over to Queen Bess. Oh no, Queen Bess is in fact out of ammo. So the Dowie may be able to grind their way through this one. They still have a very nice range core here for firing and taking these Night Terrors offline, and Harkin is super injured. However, he's a big terror-causing monster, and that is the death of the Lord of the Dowie to take into account here. Now we do have some Dwarf Warriors shutting down some zombie pirate deckhands, and maybe Worshia's build was a little bit stretched too thin. We have Slayers hunting down the Carronade now, and the battle looks to be turning in the Dowie's favour here, as they do actually scoot ahead in the power balance for the first time. A lot of that can be down to Queen Bess running out of ammo here. And the crew are charging into miners, might as well charge in there and try and get a little bit of damage, but if they die, that is going to push the power balance even further in Consulate of Rome's favour. So animated hulks are getting dragged down here, and it looks like this could be a victory for the stalwart Dowie, who just about managed to maybe cling on through. Luther Harkin taking a huge amount of damage up to the sky, but he's still a big problem to cause. It looks like the Sirens are still fighting strong. They've escaped the Runesmith. This is great play. Pull the Sirens away from anything that can do magic damage, snipe those units out, and now these Sirens are going to do a ton of damage, especially to these ranged troops, if they can get on top of them. This battle is definitely not over yet, but it does look like it's ebbing quite heavily in favour of the Dowie. I thought they were running out of steam, but of course, Dowie are wasted on cross-country. They are natural sprinters, and they are sprinting to the finish line right here now. Oops, sorry, I just got a little message on my phone there, just double checking it wasn't anything from Discord. So Luther Harkin hunting down the Runesmith here, who is going to be broken, and there's no way he's going to be coming back. However, this range core here, if Consul of Rome can pull some of these melee troops over here and keep this group protected, he should easily be able to fend off Luther and the rest of these forces. And there's just Dowie everywhere you look across the battlefield. We do have some zombies over on the left flank fleeing for their lives from these mighty Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, and another unit of Dwarf Warriors here. So those guys are pretty much offline. We do have some zombies in the back here. They're getting shut down. Sirens are getting pinged to death. And Luther Harkin will be against the world by the looks of it. He is fleeing from this combat with a nice little cycle charge. And it looks like the Runesmith did actually die completely. I do have some Dwarf Warriors running from the hills here. All these shots coming into Luther Harkin here. He does not have much health left. Let's have a little look. 700, 600. He's going to be going down, I'm afraid. And Worshiper does withdraw. So that is 1-0 to Consul of Rome. Now, he was doubting himself at the start of this game, thinking he was going to get outplayed. But comes straight in there with a fantastic win. 91 kills on Queen Bess. Wasn't quite enough to drag them through. Lamprey's Revenge up there for 61. 84 from Night Terrors, but it wasn't enough. The Stalwart Dwarfs with their mass build here, going for a ton of troops, really did some solid work up there. So let's go to the scores. Well, yes, actually. Think about that. Let's change the scores, why remember. So that is Consul of Rome up to 1. There we go. Look at us, very fancy with our scoreboards. And let's change the map up. Let's give them some GGs. Queen Bess really kicked my butt in the beginning. Cool. So map number 2 is all the way down here. Grimmenhagen is what we're going for here. Cool. I'll just quickly check chat there. So GG to both of those players. Oh, looks like we had a little bit in chat. That'd be fine. Yeah, man, I'm all good. Oh, there isn't a Team Italy. Ah, boo. Someone should form Team Italy. And hello, we've got 9 people watching. What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys are just joining, we have done 1 game so far, so nothing to worry about. In the first best of 3, Consul of Rome taking down Worshiper's Vampirates when he was in turn using the Mighty Dowie. Let's just check Discord, make sure there is no questions for anyone. No, looks like we're all good. I'm assuming they are just sorting out the matchup. And it looks like we're going to begin Empire versus Lizardmen, 2 factions who've just received the new DLC. So I'm very excited to see if there's some new units. I believe Empire now kind of are favourites in this faction with the amount of anti-large they can do. But I'm sure Worshiper's not going to be falling for that trap. So as they're just picking their armies, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask now. And in this meantime, I'm just going to plug myself as always. If you just scroll down a little bit, there's like a thumbs button. If you press that, a puppy is born and the world is a better place. If you do not press that, a puppy dies and it's really sad and tragic. So make sure you hit that and that little subscribe button if you are new to the channel. I'm very excited, though, to see these two keep scrapping it out. Worshiper definitely has the quality to bring himself back into this one. And, of course, round 2 is going to be between Zach B. Sane and Ben the Barman. So, very exciting stuff. Do you guys have any predictions on who's going to win this? Consul, of course, managing to beat Worshiper before in the last F before Dishonour with the Empire. They're going down 2-1 in that series. So, it should be pretty damn close. I think I may have to see the armies before I place a bet, but I think this matchup does now favour the Empire. But the Lizardmen have so many tools, they don't really have any bad matchups anymore, not any super bad ones. They can kind of work around most things. I've been having great fun with the new DLC. Played Ben the Barman yesterday with the Shredder of Lustria, which definitely probably 99% of the time doesn't pay for itself, but it came up against Greenskins, where I think it has a niche pick against Greenskins and Beastmen, and it tore stuff apart. If you do want to see that battle just after this stream, go back and check out the last stream. It was meant to be an hour long, but people kept turning up and wanting to play, and I was having such good fun. I believe it goes on for 2.5 hours almost. It was kind of crazy big in the end. But yeah. So any questions, guys? Oh, 9 people watching. What's up, guys? Nice to see you all here. Hope you guys stick around. We're just going into game 2, which is going to be Consul of Rome versus Worshiper. Consul of Rome being 1 up. Oh, Queen Bess in that battle did insane amounts of damage, making all of those hits early on. But since we looked the second time at her stats, she hadn't gained too many kills. So I think she was missing for the majority of the middle part of the battle. But at the end, you know, running out of ammo, charging into combat, you can't really ask for more if your artillery pieces, you know, run out of ammo, normally means they've done a ton of damage. So it looks like Consul of Rome is ready, just waiting on Worshiper here. Nope, looks like Worshiper is ready. Cool. Good luck, have fun to both the competitors here, and let's get this cracking. So I hope the other 2 competitors are waiting in the wings, watching eagerly, trying to scout out their opponents and figure out how, what builds they like to bring and how to counter them. Of course, all our competitors have played each other before, though, so they should be pretty used to it. Now, this is a very interesting map that I actually played for the first time yesterday, so I'm not sure if it came new with the DLC. Aristodemus himself did, in fact, recommend it. And it allows for some crazy Vanguard builds. As the deployment zones, you can actually get all the way behind them in a nice line, not just in the corners. Now, there is quite a few choke points in this battlefield, but at the same time, there's so many of them, you can do some massive flanks around the sides, or stand up on top of these ridges and make some nice firing arcs, which could really benefit the Empire, actually, thinking about it, as they try and hold a battle line and shoot down with impunity, which could be quite good. So just double check chat, make sure we got no questions. Yes, a Goblin Shaman did strike the killing blow. It was Beauty that felled the beast, and Beauty was indeed a goblin. Cool, and it looks like the armies are loading in now. We shouldn't have any lag problems or anything. And let's have a little look at Consul of Rome's army. So he looks like he has 2 units of the Empire Knights, which is a really nice pick here. They will get torn apart by cold ones, but they can chase down skinks very handily. In the front here, he does have the handgunners, Silver Bullets as well, Regiment Renowned, and another unit of handgunners. 1 unit of Pistoliers, so I'm assuming his infantry is going to be very cheap and cheerful. Oh, he's bouncing around all over the place at the moment. So he has Spearmen mixed in with Greatswords. He also has the fanatical religious zealots of Sigma himself. A couple of units of those going to be unbreakable in the middle. Some more Spearmen, mass Spearmen throughout his entire army. So there's a few little elite units dotted in there, but for the most part it is going to be cheap and cheerful Spearmen. Now in the back, he does have an Archlector. Very interesting pick for a Lord here. He's gone for the Archlector, of course. Has had a lot of changes in the latest patch. So if we hover over him now, 1 All-Foot Lords have got a little bit cheaper, and Soulfire now does a crazy amount of burst damage when you pop it down. He's also bringing the Grand Shield of Faith. Over here he does have a Light Wizard as well. Looks like he has bought the Net and the Shem's Burning Gaze, along with a Power Stone here. So very interesting build by Consul overall, going very wide there. If we have a quick look at Worshipp's build, he does have some Saurus Warriors mixed in with Temple Guard. For the most part of his front line is going to be cheap and cheerful skink cohorts. A couple of Saurus with spears and some just with the basic with shields. Another unit of Temple Guard up here, unless he did in fact move them. Nope, he's got the 2 units of Temple Guard. He's gone for some Feral Cold Ones, very nice pick, but still done with the Revivification Crystal. Yes, some new units. We have the cohort of Huatl. I'm going to say Huatl, which is the Regiment of Renowned Sacred Crocscore with their mighty power fists, doing all Space Marines proud. I really like their colour scheme. It looks very badass. They're going to be coming in here, tearing apart all sorts of units. They're good against cav, they're good against infantry. They do have armor piercing, armor sundering as well, which is very useful, and magic damage. We have a Skink Priest of Beast here, coming in with Flock of Doom and the Manticore Summon. And for a Lord, he has gone for Crockgar, the mighty beast himself, but he's not going to be on top of his trusty steed Grimlock. Instead, he's going to be on top of a Cold One there. So looking very good here. Both armies gone very wide in particular. And yeah, it looks like Worship is going to try and take the first foot here forward and push forward by the looks of the way he has deployed. Whereas Worship himself, at the same time, looks like he can play quite defensive, but he does have these 3 handgunner units up here on this immovable part of terrain. So of course, the Lizman can't climb up here. That could be a massive factor in this battle. Let's just let them know they can start when ready. There is no rush at all. Quick little look at chat. Cool, guys. Nice to see 9 people watching. If you do happen to want to hit that thumbs up, now is a good time to do it between the start of the battle. And feel free to subscribe. If you are new to the channel, we do battles, tournaments, normally every other week or every 3 weeks, and live streams as well, dotted in. Normally Come At Me Bro series, where I will play against anyone who wants to go, basically. So if you want to face me down, feel free to subscribe and message me on Discord. So Lizman are surging forward now, rushing down the hill in their mighty force. I don't know whose money you guys are backing, or who you're backing with your money, sorry. But I think this hill could be really advantageous right now to the handgunners. I'd like to see some Chameleon Skinks deployed in the back, possibly to try and hunt them down. But it looks like the Pistoliers are being forced off here. Skink cohorts pushing in. Now this Lizman force will do huge damage to this front line. I'll be able to tear through it quite quickly. However, there are some unbreakable units guarding each entrance, which is a fantastic idea. And I think Worship could struggle here just because of the map and the way their army compositions are picked. So it's like he's focusing most of his forces down this central passage, but he also does have a nice little flanking force. We have the Feral Cold ones moving up here. They're going to have to try and sneak up and round. Now, this Consort has deployed his greatswords just behind the unbreakable units in the front. They're going to be able to charge through and plug the gap when needed. This is going to force a blob fight where these handgunners are going to be able to make great work shooting down. However, there may be some line of sight issues when he gets closer. It looks like we do have a big flock of doom coming down as well. Let's get rid of the little tooltip here for you guys, just so you guys can see what is going on in the battle. So we have some spearmen rushing up to meet the mighty Skink cohort, or are going to be falling back, allowing the Saurus warriors to get a nice beefy charge. We do have a big spell coming in here as well. Massive net of Amantok, allowing these Emperor Knights to come crashing in. He's managed to net up almost 3/4 of his army here, allowing him to get this massive charge in. However, the Sacred Crocscore are going to be battering the crap out of these Empire Knights if they are not careful. Now, over up on the flank here, we do just have some Skink cohorts who are doing a decent job actually tearing down these units, and a unit of Saurus warriors. Now, just having 2 units over here isn't too big of a sacrifice, and it is forcing Consul Rome to keep so many of his units away from the main action. We do have a Burning Gaze coming down there, doing really good damage to the cohort of Huatl there. But the Bastiladon is moving forward. Looks like he's also dropping a heal down. Although that may, in fact, be a Cold-Blooded coming down here. But the Lizardmen are desperately trying to push through this front line, and it looks like Krokgar has indeed managed to do so, but he decides to instead fall back on top of these great swords as the Empire Knights do come crashing in. Now, it has become an absolute blob fight. Luckily for Lizardmen, they are fairly decent in these blob engagements. These Saurus warriors are going to be struggling on this side. This map has really helped out these handgunners. Very nice pick if he knew the map, just because of this impassable bit of terrain. And a massive bombardment coming down by the Archlector. You see the cohort is really starting to stroll down. They're still up to 9 units though, so maybe a heal from the Bastiladon is in order. Big flock of dooms coming down though, causing mass damage to these Empire. As you can see, the handgunners are really struggling to get a bit of line of sight now. And I do hear a Manticore summon being summoned in the back. He's probably going to be hopping down on top of this Light Wizard or on top of these handgunners, who are shooting all their shots into him as we speak. Krokgar has managed to push himself all the way through, but there is a nice charge coming in now from the Pistoliers, which is a little bit ballsy, but the Empire Knights are coming in as well with the Grand Hammer of Sigma buffing them up. Now, Temple Guard will do very good in this engagement as well, supporting the cohort of Huatl, although they are getting beat up pretty bad. However, let's see, they are up to 35 kills, so not really paying for themselves as we speak, and the right flank has been won by the Empire, so these units are now going to be able to come over here and really fight down in this bottleneck. So the Lizardmen aren't doing too bad here. Power Balance, though, is in Empire's favour for now. Krokgar really needs to come over here and smack the crap out of this Archlector. We do have the Feral Manticore getting in there, doing a decent amount of damage, but he is obviously a summoned unit, so will disappear. Bastiladon has been focused down by these handgunners and is running off the field. Hopefully for Worship he will return and be able to pop 1 or 2 more heals. Now, the good thing about handgunners in this situation, yes, they can't shoot into the main line. However, they will do a very decent amount of damage against the big Crocscore, who looks like have been taken down. 1 Manticore, as you can see, by this orange essence it now has around it, is going to be soon to disappear. However, as we can see, this one has just been spawned and has the much lighter clear essence all around it. Nice little aura there. That's a new tool that has come in with the latest patch, which I quite like. It helps both players out, I feel. And unfortunately, that Bastiladon, let's check, is down to 500 health. There's a small chance they come back, but it is very small. Pistoliers are returning to the fray, having used up all their ammo. Krokgar is trying his best here, but I feel the Lizardmen are slowly getting ground up. But I said the same thing about the Dowie in the first game, and I was completely wrong. We have 2 very, very healthy units of Temple Guard here, which will do a fantastic job against most of these units. We can see, though, a lot of them aren't fighting. It is only the front line, and that Soul Fire is doing a ton of damage against these blobbed up units. The Archlector, though, is taking a little bit of a pounding, whereas Krokgar himself is actually also taking a similar amount of work done to him. So let's see if the Lizardmen are able to push their way through. Now we have 2 units being distracted over here just by some Saurus warriors. Apart from that, though, the gunners have managed to form a nice little shooting squad up here on their high ground. So before they were over here where they couldn't see too much, but now they've elevated themselves up into the top of the hill, and now they're managing to shoot down and doing some decent damage. Skink Priest getting in there and doing some work as well. Grand Hammer of Sigma has been popped down, really keeping this cheap frontline fighting for the longest time. It's become an absolute grind. It looks like a Flock of Doom is coming down, though, doing huge damage to those cheap troops. Krogar is taking a bit of a pounding. He's trying to support these Saurus Warriors, but maybe he needs to fall back and integrate himself with these Temple Guard instead. So it looks like a Shield of Faith has been popped down as well, really supporting these units. I'm really loving the pick of the Archlector, and I think Warrior Priests and Archlectors, now with the points reduction, are going to be seen much more often, especially because of the Soulfire buffs as well. So it is a bit of a slow grind now, unfortunately. I don't have too much to say about this battle, of course. Lizardmen are slowly forcing their way through. Handgunners are still very healthy ammo-wise. A lot of them are obstructed, though. Console really needs to get those guys firing online, because if this front line does break, those guys will simply be hunted down. But Krogar getting very danger close low. I would definitely pull him out if I was Worshiper, and maybe try and get him on top of the Archlector, who was also very low. So in the distance, let's see, we have a broken unit of Skink Cohort and a completely shattered unit of Saurus Warriors. And I think it looks like the Basildon has completely gone. A couple of the Skink Cohorts have finally had enough. Great shearing, Shem's shearing gaze coming down on Krogar, doing a huge amount of damage. Now, if he has Hand of Gods, Worship does in fact leave the game. I think that was slightly premature there. If he had Hand of the Gods, he could have popped down the Archlector there and really continued to fight there. Still had two very healthy units of Temple Guard there, but I feel that map, fortunately, did really screw Worshiper over a little bit there. Worshiper, in fact, yeah, sorry about the map there. It looks like Worshiper has left, but we'll shout some GGs. I'll chat to him afterwards anyway. I'm sure it is all good. There's a little bit of a choke point there, but they did know the maps in advance. So we will be getting console moving on to the next round. And we're beginning in the two new competitors, which is Zach B. Sane and Ben the Barman. So if you guys want to join the lobby, it is just Death Before Dishonour with the password 123. And let's get our next map up while I think about it. So we do, in fact, have Kelp and Coal Dust, which is right here. Cool. So we'll wait for those guys to hop in. Just check chat while I'm waiting. Cool, nothing too crazy so far, just GG's in the chat. 11 people watching, what's up guys? Hope you're doing all good. Please do drop a like if you are enjoying the stream, it makes puppies very happy. And Ben the Barman just saying he's popping out of YouTube now and getting ready to pop in. And we'll just be waiting on Zach B. Sane. So these guys have met before, Zach B. Sane taking down Ben the Barman in a 2-1 series, I believe, in the finals of the second Death Before Dishonour, stealing Ben the Barman's title. You can just mute Ben the Barman. If you just want to mute it, feel free, my dude. Feel free to mute. So hello to everyone watching. If you guys are new to my channel, we do multiplayer battles, we do live streams, we do tournaments, we do a little bit of everything. So if you want to stick around and see more of this action, please do subscribe and all that good stuff. Cool, so we have the OG champion here, Ben the Barman, popping up for his first battle. I'll drop a little invite to Zach, just to let him know we are ready for him. Cool, looks like we're all good. If you guys have any questions, now is the perfect time to ask them, as we wait for Zach to join in. And I'm just going to quickly check Discord. Cool, looks like Discord is all good for now, so no questions or anything. And Zach B. Sane is on Total War Warhammer, so he should be joining very shortly. Yeah, man, I mean, if you want to stay on, that is perfect, and just mute the stream, Ben, that is perfectly cool. I'll let him know in here just in case he can. Cool, and we will just wait for Zach to be joining in. Zach B. Sane, of course, champion of our second Death Before Dishonour, but I think he got his title taken by Falcon in round number 3, and I believe he actually got to the finals. Or was it Ben who got to finals? Ben the Barman always seems to somehow scrap his way to a final against all the odds, even up against like ridiculous opponents where he's one down, he comes back and manages to scrap it out to a 2-1 victory. Yes, man, I will cast replays on the channel. Just message me on Discord and I can get your replays played. So in comes Zach B. Sane here, the man, the myth, the legend, for an ultimate smackdown between these two competitors. Cool, I'll let these guys pick their matchup and sort out what they're doing. So, that was a really cool first match there. Consul Rome, the underdog, coming in and managing to take that in a 2-0 series. Oh, let's change the scorecards while I think about it. So, we do have... We're just going to do Ben and Zach for this. Cool. And that is all good to go. Cool, we'll let those guys decide if they want to pick a ban or do a gentleman's agreement. I'm always happy with either one. It's never really an issue for me, to be honest. As long as it's all good fair play. Now, we are playing Warhammer Cup rules, for those of you who do not know. But the main thing we go by is as long as the competitors are always friendly and very nice, I'm always happy to have them back on the channel and so forth. So there's no real problem with any competitors. And so far, because we've been very lucky, not a single competitor has ever been, really difficult to work with. Cool, they're just sorting out there. Ben the Barman hasn't played since the DLC's dropped, so he may be trying out some of the new units. We'll have to wait and see. Personally, of the new units, I really enjoy the look of the Razordons. I'm not sure they're too good, although I did pit them against Dwarfs yesterday, and they did a decent amount of work. But they're one of my favourite units, at least thematically, and of course the Big Dread Saurians. Most useful units, though, I think are going to be the Huntsman and the Regiment Renowned War Wagon for the Empire. Also, plus their new Lord and Marcus Wolfheart are very, very deadly. Cool, those guys are just talking and sorting out. So any questions, guys, feel free to ask while we just chill. Cool, just going to take a little sip of water, make sure my throat doesn't get too dry. All good, there. Cool, cool. Cool, it looks like Ben the Barman is going to go Dark Elves. And we'll see who Zach decides to pick back. Dark Elves, I don't think they've had too many major changes since the latest patch. Obviously, all Foot Lords and stuff and different types of magic have changed in both point cost and in how much damage they do and so forth. For example, Fireball and Wind Blast have been nerfed, although they're still viable. Do not worry too much. Please no High Elves versus Empire. I played it too many times. I'm sure everyone at the moment is getting very sick of all the Empire and Lizardman gameplay, but us mere peasants who didn't get early access are, still getting used to all the new stuff. So it's still fun to play, at least for us at the moment. Cool. Still sorting out their matchup, but that is the cool. There is no rush. So after this map, we are going to be moving over onto El Angui, which I probably butchered the name of that, but it is a big competitive map. I'm sure you guys would have seen it plenty of times. And if it does go to round 3, we are going to be moving to Crossroads. Cool. Those guys still figuring it all out. So how have you guys been finding the DLC? Have you been finding lots of cool new synergies that you want to share with everyone? Or do you want to keep those secret to make sure no one steals them off? I've been enjoying the DLC. I haven't really played too much, to be honest. I just played this on stream, I think a couple of games yesterday. Haven't had time to play any today. But I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying, and especially been enjoying hosting all these games with the new units. Ancient Croc Score look pretty damn cool. Or Sacred Croc Score, sorry. Cool, they're still making their mind up. We can do a pick and ban if they want, if it's easier. No worries, there's no rush. That's all good. And if you guys have any suggestions in the chat, I'm sure they'll be willing to listen to you. I see we have 9 people watching and only 6 likes. That is absolute heresy. That is 3 dead doggos. We can't let little doggos die. Please do drop those likes if you are enjoying the stream and to save a puppy today. Cool, they're doing High Elves versus Dark Elves by the looks of it, which is a ancient rivalry. Of course, the Dark Elves are also the reason that the High Elves went to war with the Dowie. They did something very sneaky, dressed up as High Elves and attacked Dowie caravans. To be honest, the High Elves didn't do the best with it, because the Dowie did send emissaries and so forth to try and sort out the situation, because of course they were long-time allies, but in return the Phoenix King, I believe, shaves the beard of the Dowie King's brother who got sent as an emissary and sends him back, which of course is a huge dishonour, which starts the War of the Beard or the War of Vengeance, depending which side you listen to. And overall, both sides lose, technically, because they get slaughtered, and then, you know, Greenskins and Skaven start to assail the Dowie, whereas Dark Elves start to assail the weakened High Elves. However, in the actual war, I believe the Dowie do win, killing the Phoenix King and stealing the Phoenix Crown, which is very badass. I recommend Warhammer lore, honestly, it's super cool, especially the fantasy stuff. I don't know anything about Age of Sigmar at the moment. I haven't read into it. I've heard it's got a lot better recently, though, and including the tabletop game, I've heard it's really good, and the models are crazy detailed and fantastic. But if you are looking to get into Warhammer lore, I recommend Gotrek and Felix as a great way to set yourself in, and those 2 characters are coming to Total War very shortly. So quickly double check chat. Looks like we're all good. Well, Marcus is a bit overtuned. He's very powerful, but he's super squishy. He has some really nifty abilities, and he can ping down people. Now, if you're Lizardmen, you basically have to go Gorrock against Empire, I feel, because he's tank enough to at least survive those shots for a considerable amount of time. But he's very powerful, but at the same time, I've seen, like, Tunis Chameleon Skinks just shoot him to death. So he is rather squishy in his own right. I feel Empire, though, definitely came out ahead of the Lizardmen in this matchup. So I'm trying to think what factions these guys took last time, but it was such a long time ago, I don't actually remember who they brought. I just remember it was a 2-1 series. 0 spend, you're dead, mate. Oh, Ben the Barman already chatting his stuff. Thinks he's got this down. And he is ready, so just waiting on Zach be sane. So he's managed to spend the exact amount of money that he wanted to. Cool, cool. And one of these lucky guys will be facing Consul of Rome in the finals. Would be hilarious if Consul of Rome does win the championship event, considering he is actually, so far, just a runner-up. But if he does claim it, we will then have 4 champions, which is very, very cool. Kelp and Coal Dust, pretty damn fun map. It's also got 2 little ridges like the last map, but there's less choke points, so hopefully we won't have a repeat. Although it was a bit unfortunate for Worship, but I feel that was just down to the builds. I mean, I've played on that map before, the Lizardman, and done fairly successfully, but you do have to be prepared to vanguard troops and go right the way around the flanks. But still very well played to Worship. Good competitor, always great to have him on the channel, and hopefully we will have him back soon. So just waiting on Zach here, shouldn't be too long. He's just picking his High Elf army. Now this matchup, I am terrible at playing Dark Elves, so it's really hard for me to tell what their matchups are like. You know, what matchups are good for them and what matchups are bad. One thing I do know is you cannot let them out skirmish you, and High Elves have some pretty good tools to try and neuter down the Dark Elves and their abilities. They have 11 Reavers of their own and a wide variety of cav. However, Dark Riders can be a massive pain in the butt, especially those repeater crossbows, and do a huge amount of armor piercing damage. So I'm not sure who this matchup kind of favours. I would lean towards the Dark Elves, but that is just from an untrained eye here. Cool, Ben the Barman is just going to quickly grab another beer, getting ready for when he plays. He, of course, is actually a barman, and I believe he is running a shift today, so it's great for him to actually join in and play. Looks like Zach Hussein unfortunately has 4 gold left over. 4 gold. Cool, so I'm just going to wait for Ben the Barman to grab that beer quickly, and as soon as he's back, we will get going. Cool, looks like he is ready to go. Well, let's start the battle. Very excited. Who is your money on? The mighty Zach B. Sane or Ben the Barman, the god of all beer? I don't know who my money's on, personally. Zach Bissane came out on top last time, but Ben the Barman always gets to the final. It's kind of his thing. It's, you know, if he was a character in Warhammer, that would be his main trait, guaranteed to get to final. So we'll see as we do load in here. So much like on the previous map, we do have these two bits of immovable terrain here, one with a little bit of trees behind and the other one naked. However, there is masses of acres of space all around the place, including a lot of trees on the left hand side, so you can force an engagement in the forest if you need to, or you can drag your opponent out into the open right here. So it should be pretty cool. Should be pretty damn cool. In the background, it looks like we do have a ruined city, and a monument of chaos has been erected as well. So that you'd say probably favours the Dark Elves. They like all good things evil, and I don't know how these skulls get into the mountains, but either way, they do look very, very gangster here. So should be cool. Who is your money on? Do you have a favourite? Are one of these guys your friends and you want them to win? Do drop it in chat and back them up and give them a little bit of support. So we shouldn't take too long to load in here. These two guys obviously have played before, and we can see they have loaded in. So let's have a little look at Ben the Barman's army first. It looks like he does have some Cold One Knights. Is there another one on the other side? Well, there's a big cav contingent. So he has Slash's Harvesters, Regiment Round, Doomfire Warlocks, Dark Riders, another unit of Dark Riders, and those Cold One Knights as well. Looks like he has a unit of Shades, not the Great Sword variety, just the standard guys. He does have the Blades of the Blood Queen, Regiment Renowned Executioners, another unit of Haganeth Executioners, and then some cheaper Spearmen mixed in with Bleak Swords here across his front line. So we've gone for a very swift mobile force with a lot of chaff, but also a couple of elite units chucked in there. Now let's have a little look at where his lord is. I'm assuming it's going to be Marathi, and up in the sky we have a Supreme Sorceress. I was lied to and betrayed. So we have a Supreme Sorceress here, who is going to be bringing the Black Horror, Arcane Conduit, Opal Amulet, and the classic Fate of Biuna and Spirit Leech, which will do a decent amount of damage here. So the Shades, it looks like, are going to be getting escorted up by the Dark Riders, which isn't a bad play, and some are being vanguarded in the back, looks like the Slash's Harvesters. So let's have a quick little look now at Zach Bissane's army. So for the front line, he has gone cheap and cheerful with Spearmen and also Lothran Seaguard. In the back, he has 3 units of the Sisters of Avalon. These guys will destroy pretty much anything with their laser-fired shots if they can be protected. They are very, very expensive, but not too fragile in combat. Another unit of Lothran Seaguard protecting the back here, and a couple, in fact 3 units of Silver Helms to try and counter any cavalry play. Up in the sky, we do have a Flames Fire Phoenix, going to be dropping those fire poos all over the enemy. Now, Lord-wise, we do have Teclis, someone I often get killed, but he is winning Potion of Choroi, Regrowth, Enfeebling Throw, and the Net of Amantok. We also have a Noble up on his Mighty Steed here. So 2 very good armies just from face-off. If the Sisters of Avalon manage to get through, 75% of their ammo each, High Elves win. If they get the backline compromised, though, I think the Dark Elves could do a great job here. Cool. We are playing Cup rules, or the unit caps are already online, but they kind of suit the Warhammer Cup rules anyway. So in the distance, it looks like we have Dark Riders plus Slash's Harvesters in the back now. We should do a pretty damn decent job. There's a last little bit of changes coming in from Ben the Barman over here, just moving some units around, dropping them all around, just in case there's any... Well, this is a tactic often used by people if they think there's stream sniping, but of course we know all of these players. We're in one big chat together, and we know no one's going to cheat. But it looks like he just had second thoughts and decided to rearrange. Power balance dead even, as you would expect. Sometimes it's not dead even at the very start of the battle. And while we're waiting, I will just quickly check chat, see what's up. Yo, what's up, Wicked D? Nice to see you, my dude. You've come in on Game 2. So Game 1 went to Consul of Rome, winning 2-0 over Worship. And this game is between Zach Bissane with the High Elves and Ben the Barman with the Dark Elves in their first round on the best of 3. And these guys are all former champions who are playing today. So we've got the battle is going underway, and it looks like the Lothran Seaguard are going to be pushing up to get a bit of early poke and try and force his opponent to come towards him over here and try and bottle him up a little bit like Consul of Rome did Worship, which is a very good tactic. However, there are some sneaky stabbings coming from the trees, but one unit of Silver Helms is rallying out there, or sallying out there, sorry, to try and pin them down and finish them off. Nice early shots coming in, trying to pick off those Haganef executions, which is a decent pick. And the Flamesfire Phoenix coming in there with those fire poos. Oh no, looks like actually had a Spirit Leech dropped to it. Thought it was going to drop those fire poos down. Instead, we have the Sisters of Avalon doing that crazy amount of burst damage. Now, over up in the trees here, we do have the Dark Riders struggling up against the Silver Helms. However, Slash's Harvesters will do a decent job of Word of Pain dropped, but we have the Noble coming in, plus Teclis both coming in to really help sort out that backline engagement there. But while they're doing that, this could be a good chance to get any more cav that is in this little contingent round the flanks here. So it looks like the Flamesfire Phoenix has taken a little bit of a pounding. Let's see if he's going to be dropping any poops. No, it looks like he's good to go. And the front lines do come crashing together. Bleak Swords going in with that charge. The Haganef Executioners have just been wrecked here with that focus fire coming down from the Sisters of Avalon here. Looks like the Flamesfire Phoenix is flying across here as well. Is he going to be dropping any poops? No, it looks like he's just floating around right now. However, the left-hand flank here for the High Elves is getting completely wrecked by the Dark Elves and getting very much overrun. And distant Slash's Harvesters are still fighting down on those Silver Helms, and we are getting Cold Ones streaming into the back line now, and some very nice micro bringing these Dark Riders into the back line and trying to force them into the back on top of these Sisters, as they very much need to be shut down here. We do have the High Elf front line has completely buckled, and the Blades of the Blood Queen are charging into the back line here, but they're going to be taking a ton of focus fire. Dark Riders managed to hop on and shut down one unit of Sisters of Avalon, and a fantastic net coming down here by Zach B. Sane, really shutting those guys down. But it looks like we are going to be getting a very nasty spell coming down the side here, trying to take on those Sisters of Avalon, but great micro here by Zach B. Sane, pulling them back. Dark Riders have engaged the Sister Avalon up on the hill here. However, we do have the Phoenix coming in to help. But this is all good play by Ben the Barman, putting pressure on wherever he can, and his frontline troops just to gradually push their way through. But he is getting pulled into a bit of a shooting box by the looks of it. Slash's Harvesters still going strong, fighting Silver Helms with the help of Dread Spears, which is a good matchup, especially with some Cold One support. However, we do have Teclis coming riding in here with his Noble Bodyguard. In the back line, Bleak Swords are going to slowly shut down some Lothran Seaguard, but it looks like for the most part the back line has managed to be protected from the High Elves, and the Sisters of Avalon are now back online. One unit is running from the hills though, away from these Bleak Swords, but then in the front line there's one unit of Spearmen desperately trying to hold the flanks, and Supreme Sorcerers could come in the back here and really try and help out pinning down the Sisters of Avalon. One unit is getting a big fat hill, however, turn around and get some decent fire into the Bleak Swords. I think the Sisters are what's going to win this overall. However, over on the flanks it's going to be a little scary for the Silver Helms. They are getting beaten down a little bit here by the Dark Elf Cav and Spearman, but he's going to pull them out of that engagement, use his mobility to swoop back round and get into some winning engagements that he wants to be in. So Supreme Sorceress is rampaging through, going to try and shut down the Sisters of Avalon when the Bleak Swords do pressure these Sisters. And as we can see, we have some Haganef Executions, just 15 of those guys running in, plus an almost full health unit of Dread Spears. Both shades are also fully health here. So this game is certainly not over yet. It is going in the favour of the High Elves, and if they win this Cav engagement over here, these Dread Spears really need to shut down these Silver Helms. I think it could be game over. Sisters still online, let's see. So they are up to 46 kills on this unit, 41 here, and 106. A lot of these have been on top of executions and high priority targets. Supreme Sorcerer getting a little dangerous close as well, and it looks like the Flamesfire Phoenix is now just going to hunt her down for the rest of the battle. However, Teclis is taking a ton of burst damage from those shades coming in, but it looks like Supreme Sorceress may be forced off. Opal Amulet has been dropped, but she is in fact terrified. Is she going to run off the field before she regains her wits? That is so unfortunate, getting terrified off the battle there. That is one problem with these high mobile lords. They're very, very fast to flee. Shades are now taking some focus fire, and unfortunately I think that is going to be game over, and 1-0 to the mighty Zach B. Sane there. Very well played by both players, but managing to keep those Sisters of Avalon online as much of the battle as he did really swung that in his favour. Ben the Barman did fantastic work getting onto those back units and really trying to shut them down, but in the end he could never quite get enough to shut them down, and the Flamesfire Phoenix just plopped along wherever it needed to fend off the forces. So yeah, overall 114, 45 and 58 kills. They were really the game changer for me. However, Ben the Barman still did very good play there, just wasn't quite enough, wasn't able enough to shut down those Sisters. Yes, Ben the Barman complimenting Zach B. Sane's build, and I very much like it as well. So let's move on to our second map. And right here. And let's see anyone's thoughts in chat. What's up, Wicked D? How's it going, my dude? Nice to see quite a few people watching here. Of course, this is the Death Before Dishonored Champions Edition, so it is all the previous champions, minus one Mr. Falcon, who has been replaced with Consul of Rome, are coming together to scrap it out to try and prove once and for all who is the ultimate champion. And let's change the score while we remember. So Zach is 1 up. I need to check Discord quickly, as it looks like I have a message. Oh no, that's just on a different thing altogether. Cool. So we'll let these guys decide matchups. Cool, so they've got the new map, and we'll wait for these guys to pick out armies. If you guys have any questions, now is the perfect time to ask them. We always seem to jump up in views right between battles, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you guys, this whole stream will be put up afterwards on YouTube. It takes a couple of hours normally to upload itself. But once it does, the whole thing is up there, and you can just skip to battles if you wish as well. But it's nice to see you've got 10 people watching here. Hello, hello, hello. If you are new to my channel works in a very special way compared to most other YouTube channels. Now, if you press a like button on my channel, a puppy is born, and the world is a slightly better place. But if you view the video, and there is no thumbs up from you, or even worse, a thumbs down, a puppy dies very tragically. So unfortunately, you know, if you guys love puppies as much as I do, you know what to do. Let's see what they're saying. So it looks like we're going to have Skaven versus the Dowie. Very interesting. Zach be saying picking Dowie into Skaven, which normally is, I believe, is considered a very heavy favourite game for the Skaven. But I think I know what Zach be saying is up to. I'm not going to spoil anything, but he's used some builds against me before. Going Clan Ungrund in particular. So I have a strong feeling I know what Zach be saying is going to do. He used a very interesting dwarf build, very sneaky build, up against me when I was High Elves once, when I tried to outshoot him. But who is your money on? Do you think Zach Bisane is going to carry the day, going 2-0 into this, or is Ben the Barman going to fight back and once again manage to scrap his way to a final? Hopefully Consul of Rome is in the chat as well and viewing, as he's going to be up against one of these guys in the next round. Hopefully he is studying their moves and getting himself prepared. I know he considered himself a bit of an underdog, but he has found himself in the final, which is very, very cool. Cool. Zach was making sure he can go Clan Ungrund, as originally he did say Dowie, but I'm completely fine with that. They are pretty much the same faction, apart from a few ethereal units. However, Clan Ungrund have a very, very cool colour scheme, which is always good to see. So this map, very balanced overall. There is some trees, there's a little bit of hills, and a lot of open plains as well. And if this does go all the way, we are going to be going to Crossroads, which is very cool. And for the final matchups, we're going to be starting with a new map. The Battle of Itza is going to be the first map that is going to be coming up. And then number 2 is, of course, going to be Alpine Ridge, which we always have normally, as it's a good way of just, you know, physically showing the two competitors clawing their way to the top to try and claim that title. And if it does go all the way, we do in fact have Mirror Woods as the final matchup. Nothing can beat the Dowie. The Dowie are unstoppable. You're right there, Consul. So let these guys pick their armies. Looks like they're in the middle of doing it. There is no stress, no time limits on these type of things. We're all just chilling. I'm happy just to chill out with you guys and try and figure out what's gonna go down here. But yeah, these Death Before Dishonors have been super fun. I've met so many great competitors and great people, and it's really helped out the channel as well since I've started it up. And it also gives a bit of an outlet for people who can't play tournaments on the weekends. Looks like Zach Bisane is ready, just waiting down on Ben the Barman. Now, sorry guys, if I do burp now and again during stream, I currently can't help it. Just for anyone new and you want to hear something disgusting, I did have to have a camera pushed down through my throat and into my stomach yesterday, which I do not recommend. It is not a very nice experience, so I'm feeling a little bit gassy. So apologies for any burping or if my voice quality is not quite what it is, got rather a sore throat. So I did come down yesterday and plan on doing, a short 1 hour stream, but it's going so good. It was so much fun. We had so many players kind of wanting to hop in and play. I believe it goes on for about 2.5 hours, and you guys can always go check that out if you want later. So it looks like Console Aroma is back in Zach B. Sane and the mighty Dowie. I do love the Dowie myself. I'm not a biggest fan of Skaven. I quite like their lore. I'm pretty terrible at using them. That mass horde faction. Then again, I do like using greenskins, but I do tend to go quite elite with them. I, in fact, am that one kid who quite enjoys taking Grimgore. Mainly because you just stick him in combat, and he's going to fight the entire time, and you're probably going to get off at least 2 wars, which can do some awesome burst damage. I know it's not very competitive. Wurrzag can be a lot better as well. Cool, Zach be saying is ready, just waiting on Ben the Barman. Should be all good. Skaven, of course, do take a little while to pick, as you tend to have an absolute ton of units. So it'll be interesting to see what Zach brings. Now, normally, Dowie like quite defensive approaches, but their siege engines can trade very poorly sometimes with Skavens, because Skavens are a lot cheaper. And also, of course, there are Warplock Giselles to worry about, who are very good at sniping out artillery and characters themselves. I'm not sure if the Regiment Round version does magic damage. If it does, that'll be very good at taking down any ethereal units Zach be saying maybe bringing. So let's make sure they're all good. Cool. Yeah, it's just Zach be saying he's ready. Just going to quickly check Discord, make sure we have no questions. Looks like we are all good. Cool. We're all good there. I hope the stream quality is all good. It should be running at maximum quality, and I hope the sound is all good. We have upped our game in recent streams, the last 3 or 4. We've changed the way the mic works, so it's allowed us to make everything a little bit louder and hopefully a lot more clear. And of course, the quality has been improved for a little while now, which is very cool. I'm getting very excited after this tournament. I may try 1 or 2 games myself with the new Lizardmen. I'm not sure. Depends how tired I get at the end of this. Cool, Ben the Barman's just going to go to the toilet super quick, which is no problem, as he is drinking beer right now. He, of course, is actually a barman. I believe he's at work today, so, can't be too bad when you're the boss. You get to play Total War whilst at work. Drinking beer definitely helps focus you, though, by the way. If any of you new players out there and you're trying to figure, why is my game not so good multiplayer-wise, drink beer, it super helps. I know Lotus Moon drinks on stream all the time as well, so it can't be a coincidence that 2 great players do drink all the time while streaming. Cool, cool. Welcome to everyone new who is watching. I see we've got 10 people watching. Hope you're all good in the hood and having a lovely day. We are in Game 2, Round 2. And Zach Bisane is currently 1-up against Ben the Barman. And Console Aroma beat Worship in a 2-0 series for the first game. These guys will be going through to the final to try and face each other down in a best-of-3 series to see once and for all who should be crowned champion of the universe. Sweet, let's go. Cool, and we're already up. It is time to rock and roll. Who is your money on? I reckon Ben the Barman. It depends what Zach Bisane does. If he brings the sneaky build, I reckon he has a very good shout. But Ben the Barman is such a scrapper. He always fights to the death and very often, in fact, always gets to the finals of my tournaments. No, just waiting on Zach now. It looks like he may have... He was ready before. Looks like he may have gone to go grab a drink or something whilst Ben the Barman went to go to the toilet super quick. Dowie got new tools, I think. They did indeed. Gyrocopters are now anti-large, which we may see a few of those. Footlords are a lot cheaper, and they've gained a lot of mass, and the Rune of Wrath and Ruin has been switched. Gyrocoppers as well. Gyrocoppers have been buffed. All their bomb damage is a lot more as well, including on top of the big boy. Good luck, have fun. Boom, let's get this going. Just going to have a quick sip now. I will be getting at some point. Put that back down there. We'll at some point be getting a face cam as well, so you can see my glorious face, because we are going to be doing some reaction videos on the channel as well. Hopefully with my housemate as kind of a side project, but don't worry, Total War Warhammer is going to be the main focus still. So, let's see and get this cracking. I want it to go 1-1. I'm not being biased, but I want Ben the Barman to win this one just because I want it to go all the way and make a real good scrap of it. Consul of Rome in chat, how are you feeling, buddy? Are you feeling confident now? Has your confidence been lifted after beating the mighty Worsha? Are you feeling like you could take on either of these guys in the final? Cool, so as we said before, very, very cool map. In the distance, there is a mighty Bretonnian fortress, but of course the Bretonnians will be hiding behind that, hiding the knights and peasants together, I'm sure, behind the walls. As for the map, there is quite a lot of open terrain, including some nice trees. You can force an open engagement if you have the range. At the same time, you can be a little bit sneaky with your deployment. There is trees all around the map, but at the same time, it's not an absolute forest. So let's have a little look at Ben the Barman's army first. It is, of course, going to be very large, being the Skaven. So, for the most part, he does go for a ton of Skaven slaves mixed in with clan rats. Looks like we also have Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers as well. Regiment Renowned Clan Rats do also have 5 damage. And just such a badass name, Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers. They're going to be looking very cool. We also have some Storm Vermin here. Looks like quite a few units of those. He's gone very heavy in the infantry game. Got quite a few units of Night Runners and Gutter Runners, and up in the air here, on the air, so on the high ground, we have the Teeth Breakers, Regiment Renowned Rattling Gunners. If they get nice and close, they can do a ton of damage. Looks like there's also going to be the Natty Bobu's Sharpshooters, and I believe there was one other unit of Warplock Giselles as well. Overall, very nice pick. Those guys will do a ton of damage, and let's see what he has for his Lord's Choice. He'll be hiding up over in the trees here. He does, in fact, have a Plague Priest mixed in with Quake Headtaker, the ultimate slayer of Dowie. Coming in with trophy heads and looks like Warp Shard armor and Verminous Valor, of course. So let's go have a quick little look over here at Zach B. Sane's army. He has decided to go for a bit of range. He's got a cannon backed up by some Longbeards over here. On the other flank, he has gone for, is this the Goblobber? Yes, he's gone for the Goblobber. Regiment Renowned Grudge Thrower, done a ton of damage. Also, it has a bit of a Discourage, also protected by some Longbeards. Now in the front line, it looks like he's gone very heavy in the range game, which I expected him to do. So he's gone for 2 units of Rangers, plus the Ulfar's Raiders, who are the Regiment Renowned version, have some very cool abilities, like Marked by Ulf. Is that what's called? Marked by Ulfar. Let's see. Yes, Marked by Ulfar, which minus 24 missile parry, minus 22% missile resist, and minus 30 armor. You can really burst down some units. We have some Iron Drakes, hell yes, I love these guys, spitting flamethrowers, and they're very tanky in their own right. We also have some miners with blasting charges and Longbeards dotted across the whole battlefield by the looks of it, mixed in with some Dwarf Warriors. We do in fact have 2 units of the Iron Drakes, or was it just the 1? Looks like possibly just the 1. Miners, got loads of Rangers, and for his Lord, of course, he's gone for Belegar Ironhammer, the tankiest of all Dowie Lords. Absolute beast. Looks like he's bringing him just completely and utterly naked. Well, I mean, he's got a ton of armor on, but he doesn't have any abilities. And what's this I spy in the distance? Some very sneaky Night Runners. Nice to see. No Gyrocopters here, not showing off the changes they've had. The Brimstone guns now have plus 16 anti-large, I believe, and all the bombs do a ton of damage. They could have done some decent work against the Skaven. At the same time, they're very slow flying targets and easy to ping out of the air. Crawlers with great weapons. Cool, looks like they're all ready, so good luck and have fun to both of them today. And let's see how this goes. Does he in fact have Crawlers with great weapons? He does in fact have 1 unit of Crawlers with great weapons, which is fantastic to see. Those Rangers are going to be very key as well at pinning down units. Those Warlock Giselles, though, are going to have quite a free reign here just to simply sit back and shoot. There's not too much that can get to them. The Goblobber, if it's got the range, can do decent, same with the cannon, but one of the Regiment Renowned version does, of course, have Stalk and Snipe. So both of them just sizing each other up now, and the Dowie are in fact going to be moving forward. The cannons firing in, doing some decent damage straight out the gate onto the Storm Vermin, which is a great pick for them to do, and Goblobber just coming into some Skaven Slaves, which isn't probably the best pick, but it will scare them off rather quickly. Rangers are pushing forward, and the whole Dowie force is moving forward, just leaving these 2 units at the back, including Thorin Ironbrow, who I didn't notice. It looks like he has bought the Rune of Wrath and Ruin as well, I believe that is. No, let's have a little quick look. So he does have the Ethereal Runesmith. And yeah, Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Right, let's get back to the main engagement now. Miners of blasting charges are chucking in, and the Iron Drakes are unleashing a volley onto these Skaven slaves, roasting them down. However, it looks like they are getting focused down by the sharpshooters, and they're getting torn apart heavily. However, they are getting at least a little bit of roast damage done here. Let's get rid of this here. Looks like we do have some summoned clan rats as well, trying to help out the front line. Longbeards, though, are going to hold for ages up against Skaven infantry. And all three Warblodge cells are focusing down the Iron Drakes, doing a ton of damage, ridiculous amounts. And these Rangers are now facing the wrong way and going to be getting charged in the rear by Storm Vermin, which is not what they want to be. How these other units are online, getting in there and doing a decent amount of fire damage. Miners throwing in their blasting charges, Shrekken Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers here, who are actually immune to fire, you would assume. So maybe it was the other unit that took the most damage. In the back, we do have the Night Runners trying to be sneaky and get in the back here. Goblobber thrown in and doing some decent damage. Belagar Ironhammer does have trophy heads popped on him, and he's just getting blitzed by sniper fire now. He's desperately trying to fall back and get behind Dowie lines. Goblobber coming in, scaring off those Storm Vermin, and it looks like the Skaven are really struggling to break through. However, their missile troops are doing a ton of damage. Teethbreakers here, shredding down some miners who they can charge them all they want, but they're going to be getting slowed, and the closer they get, the more damage those Fins do. Overall, power balance has gone slightly in the favour of Skaven so far. We do have some Plague Monks summoned in the back who might be altering that power balance a little bit. And we're popping on top of some Rangers here, doing some very, very good damage. In the back, we also have some more Clan Rats being summoned, and there's just rats all over the place swarming. Looks like the Iron Drakes have been forced off completely, but both the cannon and the Grudge Thrower are firing pretty much not impeded. Although there are some gutted runners, but they are going to be slowly forced off by these Longbeards, you would assume. Let's see. We do have the cannon up to 44 kills and the Grudge Thrower up to 72, so they are definitely doing a decent amount of damage. We do have miners trying to desperately run into the back line here and force off these Warplock Giselles, and even if all of these guys do target them down, at least they're wasting shots into them and not into the Dowie more expensive units. Iron Drakes have right here, they need to come back to the fray. In the front line, Dwarf Warriors are standing strong alongside Dragonback Slayers here, who are trying to drag down this warrior core. Now, where is the mighty Belagar Ironhammer? Over here he is. Fighting in the trees, protected against those Warplock Giselles, beating the crap out of Clan Rats as one mighty dwarf would do, of course. We do have a summoned unit about to disappear over here, though, and it looks like the Dowie may be able to stabilise slightly, but so many of their range units have gone offline. It is simply the Goblobber now and the cannon, which is standing strong. They have done a ton of damage. Andrake's coming in with some flaming attacks, roasting the Plague Priest here, trying to help break his leadership. And the Runesmith has popped up to get into combat. It looks like Queek is going to be running over there as well. Great fight back so far by Ben the Bowen. Power balance is going more and more in his favour, and it looks like at the moment he is favourites to win this. However, those Cannon and Goblobber really do need to be shut down. Teeth Breakers are online, and they're easily finish off these Iron Drakes now, who have also got some Clan Rats summoned right in front of them. But the main battle line has been won by the mighty Dowie, and of course, over here in the trees they are also winning, so there's still a load of melee focus units online for the Dowie, which the Skaven could really struggle to deal with. Yes, they have all these expensive units still, but they're going to run out of ammo eventually. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough combat troops to protect them. More shots coming in by the Teeth Breakers, and his leadership core is still going pretty strong. We do have Quick Head Taker who should be able to finish off these Quarrelers, and Dragonback Slayers no problem at all. Now we do have Skaven just fleeing for the hills over here on the side of the battle. He has managed to shut down this cannon for the most part, but the Longbeards go over here and help to manage to drive off these Gutter Runners, but no doubt they will be back. The Goblobber is taking some shots, and it looks like the Night Runners did manage to do a little bit of running around the Rosies, getting these Longbeards lost in the trees, and they will now be shutting down the Goblobber crew, who it looks like, are they going to be fleeing? No, they are merely turning around, so those guys will probably be taken offline. Power balance has now swung fairly heavily in favour of the Dowie. Looks like they've done pretty good managed to scare off units, and in the background it looks like we are running out of ammo with the Warplock Giselles. They only have 3 ammunition left each, so that is going to run pretty low. They need to pick their targets very wisely here. So over here, Skaven are returning to the fray. Cannon is doing some massive damage in there, shooting in and hitting the Plague Priest. Not sure which one of those he's aiming for, but some fantastic damage there. Goblobber crew, very veteran play here, coming in by Zach B. Sane, taking his guys off of their Goblobber, running them away just to at least distract these guys for a bit longer, but also, you know, if they can run away, they can come back, hop on there again and start firing again. So it looks like the Skaven may just run out of steam here. It looks like they are going to manage to finish off this cannon. They are tearing it apart here with these gutter runners, doing a huge amount of damage. They are going to take that offline. However, I think there's too many Longbeard units and Dwarf Warriors too healthy kind of lingering around the battlefield here. Belgar just staying out of trouble here, trying to remain away from Queek. And it looks like, let's see what his name is. Foreign Ironbrow is going toe-to-toe with Queek Headtaker here, there, doing a decent job of at least holding him up and distracting him. There's a pocket of strength over here for the Skaven, but all the Warplock Giselles are out of ammo, and then they did get 52, 57, and 62 kills each. And we can see Belgar is chasing down the Plague Priest. These guys are going to come running up and trying to bottle him down. So over in the distance, these Quarrelers are still online, 23 kills, not doing too bad, and there are some rallying Skaven troops, but all they can rally into is some Longbeards, so we'll be able to tank them for days. And it looks like the battle is slowly being lost for the Skaven, as desperate needs calls for desperate matters, and Warplock Giselles are coming running in. Now, where is Queen Headtaker? He's been slowed down by Rune of Wrath and Ruin. He needs to get his butt over here right now and assassinate Belgar Ironhammer as quickly as possible if he wants a chance of getting back in this game. He really needs to break the Dowie's strength. But there's so many units of Longbeard still alive and very healthy. They will fight to the bitter end. I cannot see the Skaven bringing this back. So I believe this is going to be a 2-0 to Zach B. Sane. Ben Barman has proven me wrong before, and as we can see, Queek Headtaker is on the hunt, starting to chase down Belgar, who is doing the manly thing and fleeing for the trees. Belgar does drop down Verminous Valor just to gain that extra speed, and he should be able to hunt him down and get some decent shots in there. As you can see, Ben the Barman is desperately trying to assassinate these characters now in an attempt to force off the rest of these Dowie forces. Although, as I said before, Longbeards, they're so resilient. And we have some Quarrelers in the back here who have rallied as well, and Longbeards chasing down units of Storm Vermin. So Queek has got the engagement he wants up against Belgar, but Belgar is no slouch at all. He will go toe-to-toe, going with a flying kick there, taking down one of these Warplock Giselles. He himself now is hunting down Queek, which is rather hilarious. Looks like we do have another summon here of Clan Rush trying to ping down these Longbeards, but again, Longbeards will fight them all day quite comfortably. And now Queek comes charging on top of Belgar. Looks like he's going to be popping stand your ground as well, trying to force him down. Overall, for taking an overarching look at the battlefield is dominated by the Dowie. As we can see, they almost match the Skaven for numbers. Not quite yet, just about 100 behind, but that is good odds for any brave Dowie warrior. Belgar is going to be going down here, I think, to Queek Headtaker, but Belgar is super tanky, a little bit like Gorok or Vlad von Karstein. He can tank for absolutely ages, getting a little bit of a shield bash in there. In return, Trophy Heads has now been popped on him, and this is where the real damage comes in. You see his health just chug down there, and he will definitely be going down. The rest of the forces, though, Skaven are just fleeing in all directions everywhere we can see. Even the summon unit looks like it wants to go away. And is this Goblobber back online? Yes, the Goblobber is in fact back online. I'm going to be flinging some shots in there. So those guys running away did manage to save them. We have Longbeards over here and Quarrelers who could come back to the fray. And the mighty Belgar is going to be running for the hills and will be dragged down here by the mighty Queek Headtaker. So even if the Dowie win, is it really a victory if you lose such a mighty hero as Belgar? Some pebbles are being flung in from gutter runners here. And Belgar is down to 213 health. One more good hit. Some maniac charge there, swinging both his blades, does shove him down to the floor and takes him down. So down the Dowie Lord goes, and now some of these Dwarf Warriors are starting to break. You can see these Quarrelers are also starting to waver a little bit. The power balance is so far in their favour, I think these Longbeards will not be as shaken. I mean, if these Warlock Giselles had more ammunition, sure, they may be able to do, very great here and carry on fighting, but with them having to go into combat, they are obviously not meant for that at all. Queek Headtaker going to be coming in here, trying to pick off miners where he can, get those easy engagements, but the massive Dowie hordes are now starting to move in. Some Longbeards facing the wrong way. Zach needs to bring these guys back into the fray. But overall, it looks like Natty Sharpshooters are gone, Clan Rats are gone, it is Queek against the world. He's desperately trying to snipe out for an Ironbrow now and really cause a mass chain rout. Power balance is so against him, I can't see it happening. Verminous Valor coming down, giving him that extra speed, and he is going to be chasing him down. Let's see if he does that awesome charge animation again. No, he's just going to walk up to him this time. Hopefully getting a few decent hits. Of course, for an Ironbrow is ethereal, going down to 455 hit points there from one slap. Now, these Warplock Giselles are holding them way longer than I thought they would. They're doing pretty damn decent. And there are some rallying Skaven out here on the flank, coming back in, desperately trying to scrap their way forward. So we do have Longbeards here, 56 of them, 72 here, and 62 here, and I think they are going to be the absolute game changers. Queek stands alone, his troops have abandoned him, he's desperately trying to run out here and chase down Thorin Ironbrow, really trying to take out that leadership here, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. But I really appreciate Ben Barman here fighting to the death, trying to grab these guys down. He has dropped a trophy's head, but he's simply going to run him to and fro through these miners, whilst the Longbeards chase down the rest of the units. Queek is being forced to fight now, and it looks like he is wavering and most likely to break. He's exhausting, routing, and that is going to be army losses and game. 2-0 to Zach B. Sane there. Very well played to both competitors. Ben the Barman giving it a really good go there for the longest time in that battle. I thought he had it with that early damage, but eventually the stalwart Dowie managed to just drag it back, and you can see his basic infantry is what won in the game here. 111, 120, 114, 160, 115, 116. Crazy damage all across the board there. So very well played to Zach, and he will be going on to the final. So GG's for those guys. The Dowie just about managed to endure. And Zach will be sailing here for the final. Consul of Rome, if you want to hop in the lobby when Ben the Barman drops out. Same lobby, same password, and we'll get you in here for the finals. So what did you guys think of that? Let's have a little look at the chat. So I can't believe I actually won. Didn't expect this game to hold as long as they did in the end. Nice game overall there, though. Looks like finals. We could try to have some games this week. Have to get back in probably before World Cup. No worries, bro. Cool, and we'll see Ben the Barman in chat unless he has to go back to work. So Consul Rome will just be hopping in now. Now, which one of these two competitors can claim to be the one true champion? Let's have a little look at what map we are going to be switching to. I believe... Is it all the way up here? Battle for Itza is going to be the first matchup. It is Consul of Rome, Zach B saying. You guys are going toe-to-toe. We're still going to do best of 3, I think. I was originally going to make this best of 5, but unfortunately my throw is getting real raw, so we did agree earlier that it's going to be best of 3 instead. Cool, let's see what these guys say. Cool, I believe they're going to be picking one and banning 3, which is done in some tournaments. I'm happy to let these guys decide what to pick. Yeah, very nice play over there. Great play to Ben the Barman. Give him a massive round of applause in chat if you can. For coming in today and playing and giving a very good game there. Now let's change this matchup on the leaderboard. So we have Zach back down to 1. And Consul on 0 as well. Oh, so I'll make sure that's not being annoying. Cool. There we go. And we're back at it. Do you guys have any predictions on who's going to win this final? So we have the underdog, Consul of Rome, who is not actually a champion, the only non-champion in this matchup. Taking the place of Falcon is a really last-minute standing, which is fantastic, and he, of course, has reached the final before, so he is a runner-up before, so he's been trying to claim his first championship belt. Or is Zach B. Sane going to take the title? I believe he won our second ever Death Before Dishonour, and he's going to be going for his second title. Yo, what's up, Ben the Barman? Nice to see you in chat. And Park Map Dude. We're definitely going to be trying to get Park Map into one of the next tournaments as well, the ones coming up. If anyone else would like to get involved, just send me a message on Discord. Really easy to find on all the big Discords. It's just a rubber duck of war. Cool, so it looks like Consul of Rome is going Hiles, which I believe is his favourite faction. He likes playing quite defensively, and they suit that style quite nicely. Just going to take a quick sip of water here. As we get ready for this best of 3 finals. Ooh. That is all good. Now, how are we doing time-wise? Not too bad. We're on to 8:30 now. So I believe this has been going on for about an hour and a half. Probably got about an hour left in us, half an hour to an hour, depending on how long this goes. Cool, so Consul Rome is taking Avalon, and it looks like he has banned 3 factions. Let's see what they are. Norskur, Beastmen, and Dowie. Cool, just going to check the Discord, make sure there's no questions or anything. Nope, looks like we are all good to go. Perfect. Should be good fun. I see we've got quite a few people watching. Now, I did explain earlier, but just for those who didn't know, my channel works in a very special way. We're involved with the birth of puppies. So if you leave a like on the channel and subscribe, a puppy is born and the world is a better place. If you leave a dislike or you do not like at all or subscribe, a puppy dies and it's very sad. So if you love puppies, please do leave a like, and if you're enjoying the stream. And it looks like Zach Bisane is bringing the lizard men. Hopefully we get to see some new units, although of course High Elves, including the sub-faction here, are very good at taking down large foes. Well, they have a lot of anti-large tools like Spearmen and Pikemen, but if you keep your large units moving, you can tend to overwhelm them. But what a matchup. High Elves versus Lizardmen, 2 of the oldest races in the world. Lizardmen, of course, were first, and I believe their Slans taught magic to the High Elves, which is pretty damn cool. However, though, High Elves, I believe, still... you know, they're very competent, and in fact the Vortex, if you've ever played Campaign, was created by the High Elves, but then strengthened by the Lizardmen, even though the High Elves take all the credit for it. But I don't think they knew that the Lizardmen were helping them out. Let's see. Wow. Oh no, we have greenskins, yes! Got a big war coming in from Zach Bisane, who's going to be taking command of the Greenskins. I saw one of my favourite ever battles, actually, of Zach Bisane in command of some Greenskins, doing this ridiculous comeback against someone who was trying to kite draw him quite badly in a tournament. Well, not kite draw, it was just... They weren't playing in a bad way at all, but like that's the way the game kind of developed into. And he had a little goblin shaman left on a wolf, and he was just darting to and fro, dodging these aerial attacks, and it was fantastic. He managed to drag it back somehow. So we've got a big war coming in. Should be exciting. Oh, did the stream drop out there, or was it all good? No, it looks like it's all good. I'm having to watch the chat on my phone, and it quickly dropped out for me, which isn't good. But it looks like we're all back now in case it did do that. Should be pretty damn interesting. So, best of 3 finals, Battle of Itza, which is a quest battle map, I do believe, but it's fairly even. I think it should be fairly good for our 2 competitors today. Of course, we're going to be going into Alpine Ridge afterwards, and if it goes all the way, we are going to be on Mirror Woods. There you go, just checking my little list. But yes, I'm very, very excited. Looks like they're all good, just going to be picking their factions, no rush. This is zero stress environment. How are you guys all doing today as well in chat? I hope you've all been enjoying the new DLC content. I'm sure you're very sick of facing Lizardmen and Empire now. But how can you not love the big pupper, the Dread Saurin? It's just so cool. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I have a decent knowledge of the game. If you've got game questions or any questions about the channel or just life in general, I am here. Which should be very much good fun. So well played, of course, to our 2 fallen champions, Worsha and Ben the Barman. Very good displays by both of them. It just wasn't quite enough to scrape it into this final. Consul Rome went in 2-0, and Zach Bisane 2-0 as well, which I think is the first time in our tournament's history that both the first rounds have gone 2-0. So we'll have to see how this final takes place. I believe Consul Rome would consider himself the underdog, but he always says that it's along the same lines as Ben the Barman, where he's like, oh, if I come up against Zach Bisane, I could be in trouble, or come up against Worsha. But these guys are still very highly skilled players. So even though they may consider themselves underdogs, I think all these guys are pretty evenly matched. The lads are ready. Nice to see. I wonder which lord he's going to bring. Probably Wurzag against High Elves. I like bringing Wurzag, FG of the Git, and Foot of Gork. Pinning down Dragon Princes in place, especially Fireborn, and then dropping a big old smelly foot on them, and you just absolutely decimate them very quickly. I'm not sure either of these 2 factions had too many changes. Of course, everyone had the Footlord changes, and I believe Doom Dive catapults have gone up slightly in price. But I think they may have gone up in armor piercing as well. However, luckily for the High Elves, spells like Wind Blast have been nerfed slightly, which of course was the bane of their life before. Cool, looks like they are all good to go. Let's get this cracking. Just Have another quick sip. Oh, better make sure they're all ready. Fix it. I'll wait for them to both do their little tick. So Balavitsa, displaying a new map for you guys here. It's a very cool map. There's a little bit of trees, a little bit of open land, and some very cool monuments to the lizard men in the background. So Consul Rome has readied up. Just waiting on Zach be saying. May have just gone to go grab a drink or something. Apparently the lads are ready, but we'll have to wait and see. The lads are, of course, always ready for a scrap. Interesting nugget of information about 40k lore, which I feel like 40k may be a Total War they do in the future after the huge success of Fantasy Total War, which I'm sure they're going to do the third one of, and then a load of DLC. So not for a long time yet, but 40k is coming. Orcs, of course, are in 40k as well, and the way their machinery and weapons work is if orcs believe something will work in their, the engineering of their vehicles, it works. So it's as if they've got some kind of, sense of magic about them, which is very cool. Things that normally would just fall apart and not work, works perfectly. That's why you don't see anyone else with their equipment. Cool, just make sure Zach's already. Don't want to start with that. Don't know where he's got to, but I'm sure he will be back momentarily. We are using unit caps and King Cup rules, so there are a few little rules in place to stop people from kind of mass picking stuff. You cannot kite draw, and you must always be attacking. Single entities do not count as attacking as well, unless of course they are your last unit left. This kind of just stops draw, kiting and so forth, so we get some quite interesting games. Cool. Quite glad we've got to the final sounds. My voice is slowly dying. I can feel it dying. So unfortunately, sorry if the voice quality drops a little bit. It's getting a little bit raw now after after the operation yesterday and the 2 streams. Cool, hopefully he's all good. There we go, he is ready and up. Looks like we're good to start. So the first game in our best of 3 finals is about to get underway. Who is your money on? I, of course, need to see the armies before I decide. But this matchup I consider to be fairly even. Again, it's a lot about can the High Elves protect that back line, whereas can the Orcs bust through and do that real damage. Of course, Orcs most of the time will be winning that frontline engagement, unless they've gone very heavy into the elite troops, which is very risky, as Orcs can just swarm them. And as we can see, one of the new maps here, looking very awesome. We have pyramids, which are actually part of the campaign map. Well, not campaign map, sorry. The multiplayer map, so you can hide troops all the way around these corners. We have a couple of hills in place, especially an elevated position on this left flank, and also some trees, which is very good, so you can be nice and sneaky. You can hide vanguard troops behind the opponent. So as we load in now, it looks like there is a floating pyramid up in the sky here as well, which is very cool. A nice little bit of yin and yang symbolism going on here. It looks like that is what is powering that floating pyramid up there. In fact, there is multiple of those fins bobbling around. I think at end times it got really weird for the lizardmen and they ended up flying away in spaceships or something. But we don't consider that lore at the second, as we are currently fighting in some fantasy. And I believe Consul of Rome is bringing an army, or one similar to what we saw yesterday on my live stream. So he has gone for some silver helms. It looks like 2 units of those overall. He has gone for a tree man, which is a very cool pick. One, look at that guy's goatee. It is just gangster. Plus, I really like all the autumn leaves coming off him. He does have the pure main company, regiment around white lines, alongside another 2 units of the beasties themselves, a few units of spearmen as well to hold the line, and 1 unit of treekin. In the back, we have 1 unit of Sisters of Avalon and 1 unit of archers with light armor. And we also have Alariel the Radiant up on top of her mighty steed. And she is bringing Star of Avalon and Earthblood, which is pretty damn nice, and all her goodies. It looks like in the back here as well, we do also have an Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower picking up a defensive position. So very nice army overall. They'll be trying to grind out that frontline engagement. Now for the Gobbos over here, let's have a little look. We have a frontline of the boys, the Black Orcs. We've got 3 units of the mighty boys. One of them I'm sure is the Immortals in there somewhere. Now we have some Regiment Renowned Night Goblins on the right-hand flank, the Rusty Arrows in the back. Looks like they're going to be alongside some Orc Arrow Boys. I quite like this pick. Orc Arrow Boys have better armor piercing, and of course the Rusty Arrows will lower that armor with that armor sundering. For his Lord choice, he does have the mighty Gobbo himself, Snarsnick. I love this pick. He's gone for the War and also Spite of the Bad Moon, which is pretty damn nice. He'll get in there and do some nice anti-large damage. On the back here, all mixed up, we do have some Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, 2 units of the Nasty Skulkers protecting 2 Doom Divers, and they're going to do a ton of work. We also have Durkit's Squigs, the Night Goblin Squig Hopper Regiment Renowned, upholding this flank. Very nice build overall. And let's see, he does also have a Night Goblin Shaman. Let's see what you have brought to the table, my friend. He's gone for the Madcap Mushrooms, Wand of Jet. Spell-wise, he's gone for Gorkle Fixit and Vindictive Glare. And of course, he has Sneaky Stealing, which is still very cool. So cool, wait for these guys to set up. I very much like both these builds. This Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is staying away from the main army, which is an interesting choice. If anything was flanking behind, he'd be in big trouble. But in fact, it looks like he himself has placed some Illyrian Reavers here just in case, facing the corner deployment. But I don't know if you can actually Vanguard back here. Oh yes, of course you can. You can Vanguard in all of this nastiness. So very large map overall. Let's just let them know. It's good to go when ready. And up in the distance, of course, we have the beautiful waterfalls. These maps are really awesome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy this, River Amaxol, and a few others are now kind of viable for competitive play, which is always good to see. So in the chat, anyone on your favourite list? Looks like the last person was just Ben the Barman, just chatting before he hopped in the game. We are looking like we're almost ready to go. Consul Rome is ready, dropping a good luck, have fun. We're just letting Zach be saying sort out his army's final touches. Yes. So it's going to be pretty damn awesome. We have Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. Will not trade super. It's a much better artillery piece than the Doom Diver catapults. However, there are 2 of them, and they're going to wreak havoc onto these white lions and Sisters of Avalon and so forth if they're allowed to shoot. Tree King, interesting pick, especially up against the Tree Men, but Black Orcs will chop them down with their mighty axes. They're not anti-large, but they do such a good anti-piercing job that, you know, it doesn't matter too much to them. They don't have the anti-large. Plus, if the Rusty Arrows are allowed to sit on them for any length of time, they will tear them down. Well, it looks like we also have an Orc Shaman, so we do in fact have 2 Shamans for the Greenskins. We have an Orc Shaman with just Gaze of Morg. So that and Vindictive Glare together could really start to pin down those Tree King and Tree Men. So the battle is underway. Both armies just sizing each other up at the moment. This Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is moving forwards, trying to threaten a little bit. And it looks like Zap Hussein is moving up his Doom Diver catapults. So should be quite interesting here. Hail forces, looks like they are rearranging themselves. Look like they may be falling back slightly. Lin Reavers are just circling around trying to see if there was any units sneakily vanguarded behind him. But it looks like there was no sneaky stabbings this time. We do have the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers racing towards the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, trying to hop on top of it, and they will do a decent job up against Illyrian Reavers as well because of their armor piercing. So I've got a feeling this Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is going to get caught out here. Yes, he's going to have the support of the Illyrian Reavers, but that is not going to be enough to deal with these Durkits. Oh, these just the normal Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, but still, they will not have enough to deal with them. The Goblins are going to move forwards, and now they have the advantage. Doom Diver catapults are going to be flinging shots in, doing a huge amount of damage. And the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower looks like it's probably going to get taken offline. We do have some Silver Helms also rallying to the cause to drive off these Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. So nice retort there coming in from Consul of Rome. And his units are getting back on top of the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower as we speak. Tree King marching forwards with that mighty Tree Man. The March of the Ents does begin. Doom Diver catapults flinging in some shots now. Let's see what they are targeting. They're flying through the air. Looks like they might actually be going for the Tree King, which they'll do decent damage, but nothing too crazy. I would personally be trying to whittle down at the Sisters of Avalon or those white lions. So overall, looks like a heal is going to be popping down on top of these Tree King. Nice little Earth Blood. The Cav has now shielded away the Night Goblins, and the Bolt Thrower is flinging in some shots, and he's trying to target down these Doom Diver catapults. We still have the 2 nuts of Nasty Skulkers being kept in reserve, which is nice play, as these Blackhawks should be enough to help deal with this front line. So yes, these Cav are going to have to make great use of themselves, defending that Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, which is slinging shots in. Looks like it hasn't managed to take off one of the Doom Diver catapults yet, but it is doing a little bit of damage. Snarsnake going in there. Spider Bound Moon has been popped, helping that missile resistance up against the Sister Avalon, which I really like. Big War popped, and the frontline engagement is underway. These Blackhawks charging in, they can do a huge amount of damage. Snarsnake popped up on top of the Tree Man, perfect hit for him as he was anti-large. Spearman crashing into Blackhawks and not going to have a good day, but Star of Avalon is being popped down, trying to keep the battle line focused as much as possible. Blackhawks are taking a huge amount of damage up against the white lines of chase, who would normally trade fairly well upward. However, the war popped, these guys are just going to chew through them as quickly as possible. Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower still firing at the back here, although they may have switched targets now by the looks of it. Shots coming in, trying to take down the Rusty Owls and doing a fantastic job bursting their health down here. Night Goblin Shaman is going to be sneaking around, and we do have Alariel popped in on top of Snarsnake as well here, trying to assist the Tree King. Oh, not Tree King, sorry, the Tree Man. Frontline has been broken. Blackhawks are fairly beaten up though. It looks like they have won fairly convincingly over on the far side. However, they are starting to lose as there is the white lines joined by some Spearmen and a very nasty Tree Man who has been hit by Gorkle Fixer. Snarsnake is trying to chase down Alariel, but in return he is getting sniped out by, it looks like just some normal archers with the light armor. In the background, the Sisters of Avalon are being absolutely hammered by those Doom Diver catapults, really neutering those guys' strength. But they're getting some decent shots into the side of these Blackhawks, who do not have the parry anymore, and they're taking a lot of damage here. Hopefully these Tree King will rally, and let's have a look at the main fight, which is taking place over here. Tree Man is doing a fantastic job really anchoring this left flank for the High Elves and keeping them in the fight, doing decent work against these Blackhawks. However, Snarsnake has gone here with anti-large, he could be able to seal the deal. In the background, Silverhelms tried being sneaky and getting on the back lines, however they were fended off by Durkit's Squigs, and this other unit has dropped a smoke bomb, catching the Silverhelms in place. Illyrian Reavers instead can pop back and try and find a home. Nasty Skulkers coming up from reserve, fantastic play keeping those guys in reserve to really scare off this Cav. It looks like the Blackhawks on this flank are getting slowly picked off. We do have white lines coming in with Tree Kings to try and finish them off. And the other flank isn't going too drastically badly if he gets some decent healing go here. Spearmen are holding firm and the Tree Man's doing a decent job. He's just not in the matchup he wants to be in at the moment. And it looks like the Greenskins are getting into a fairly dominant position, but they are getting picked apart a little bit. It is by no means game over yet. Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is very healthy, up to 35 kills now as well. In the background, looks like Silverhelms have been broken off. We have some Spearmen in the back fighting Night Goblins, and the other unit of Illyrian Reavers have Gorkle Fixer on them, trying to get in there and protect Alariel the Radiant the best they can. It looks like one of the Doom Divers is slowly getting destroyed by the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. 2 of its crew have been wiped out. If I was console, I would switch my targets onto the second Doom Diver at once, although they're getting a little bit low on ammo. This left flank is almost collapsing for the High Elves, but a big Star of Avalon comes down absolute clutch with the Tree Man. He needs to get some support over here and try and take out Snarsnake. If he does that, that Tree Man will be a menace in the night, although there are still a couple of nasty Skulkers lurking around. This of Avalon still pinging shots in, still doing work, and the Blackhawks on the right hand side up to 90, 100 kills now, still fighting all the way to the death there, just with 15 models left. Big heal coming down on the Tree Man, up to 14 kills, but he's mainly been dueling Snarsnake, who's obviously perfect combatant for Snarsnake's point of view, at least with the anti-large damage. We do have the Illyrian Reavers charging the front, trying to break off these Durkit Squigs. Looks like they may do that quite fairly successfully. And Alariel is getting in the back, trying to shut down these archers. Doom Divers are running out of ammo, but I think they've done enough damage throughout the battle that this is probably going to be game. I can't see how the High Elves are going to bring themselves back into this. Desperate charge coming forward by the Illyrian Reavers into the front. They do get pinned down by nasty Skulkers and hit by a smoke bomb, so they are going to get dragged out. Army losses, I believe, is setting as we see the Tree Man does run as well. And this is going to be game, I'm afraid. So that is going to be 1-0 to Zach B. Sane. Nasty Skulkers are simply going to walk to the back here and take out the range units. Alariel has been pinned in by Nasty Skulkers, who have come to rescue these Orc Arrow boys, and they're going to shank and stab her to death. She's trying to escape now, but a smoke bomb is on her, slowing her down. That has just been removed, so she may be able to escape and live to fight another day. Nasty Skulkers in the back are starting to break though, but Doom Diver Catapult coming in, doing some serious work and friendly fire, it looks like, onto these back units. Over here, Snarsnik is slowly trying to poke down Alara Radiant, who's trying to get in some cycle charges, scrap into the end, which I always like to see from Consul of Rome here. And the Eagle Claw Wolf rose up to 46 kills now, though he's done a decent job. Looks like it has fended off some of these Doom Dive catapults, but there's just so many orcs running around. Nasty Skulkers pop on top of Alariel, and down she goes. She just seems to disappear there as Armilosa sets in, and that's going to be 1-0 to Zach B. Sane. Not sure if I've updated the scorecard actually since last round, so we'll sort that out now. But if we look at the end stats here, those Black Orcs are really a solid backbone. 128, 183 kills. Consul Rome did a great job managing to take them all down and basically killing them all, but that's where all his focus was, and there was just too many nasty Skulkers and other units lurking around ready to do damage. So let's have a little quick look at the scoreboard. No, it looks like we do have it right round, and that is going to be Zach 1-0 up. So let's pop GG's there. Boom. So it's Zach's turn to ban, pick one and ban 3. And we will switch the maps up now to Alpine Ridge, which I believe is actually under M. There we go. Multiplayer Alpine Ridge. So GG's to both our competitors there. Going to take a quick sip while we just wait for these guys to pick and ban. So is Consul Rome going to be able to fight his way back into this game, or is Zach B. Sane going to take it in a 2-0 series? Which means for the first time ever in our tournament, there has been no games that have gone all the way. Snarsnik over Tree Man, yes. Which one is this map? Alpine Ridge. Snarsnik slowly managed to drag that Tree Man down. That Tree Man could have been a menace in the night to everything else if the Rusty Arrows got shut down, which I believe they did. Doom Dive was running out of ammo, but Snarsnik was the anti-large tool they needed to really pick apart that Tree Man. I'll pick Wood Elves, ban Dwarfs, High Elves, and Lizardmen. Oh, we're going to see some Wood Elves play. Between your toes. Snarsnik is too small, he'll sleep between your toes. So we do have Wood Elves played by Zach B. Sane. I love seeing high tier Wood Elf play, and there are some sneaky new tools that he may be at his disposal. Orion now has Vanguard. The regiment renowned Wild Riders no longer have Guardian, which wasn't particularly useful in the first place. They now have anti-large. You can do those rush builds, which I'm slightly disappointed about because I already took the rush build myself using Wild Riders and Dryads and Orion with his mighty horn to get that big charge bonus and just shredding through infantry. And now a lot more people are going to expect it, I feel, but still. It's still a nice little inclusion and pick. Only matchup I've never won in this game. Fair enough. If you guys have any questions, this could be the last round, so feel free to ask them right now. So, I wonder what this map is. MP Herat Ridge. We'll have to check that out after the stream. Cool, gonna get another couple of sips. Cool. And we are good to go when they go. So Consul Rome just looking for his options, seeing who he can pick. Just going to quickly double check Discord. Looks like we're all good. No questions on there. Boom. Back onto here. So which one of these guys is going to be the first ever ultimate champion of Death Before Dishonour? Of course, we've had 4 champions already, but this one is a battle between the champions. So it'd be interesting to see who comes out on top. Cool, looks like stream is still running all good. And Consul Rome's struggling on who to pick. Don't know what to pick. I can ask chat if he wants, but he might not want that in a competitive matchup. So who got banned from him? Let's see. He picks Empire. Okay, it's going for the Empire matchup here. I think that could be fairly decent against High Elves. Depends how you play it. So he banned Dowie, High Elves, and Lizardmen. I'm not sure why you'd ban the Lizardmen against Wood Elves, but everything else I can see. Now, Empire is one of those factions where I love bringing the Mass Vanguard Wood Elves, so he could do that against him. We'll have to see. Now, Wood Elves are my favourite of all the elf races. I don't mind any of them, but Wood Elves are the most. I mean, the Dark Elves are the most cruel and so forth, but the Wood Elves defend their homeland with such a fury and venomous rage that I love. They're quite dark and twisted. Yes, technically they're good guys, but they get up to a lot of dark and twisted crap, especially with some of the tree sprites and so forth. And Athaloran is just a very cool place where time doesn't work quite as you'd expect, and this is where the Wood Elves make their home. Some pretty cool, awesome stories of, Bretonnian dukes and going into Athaloran, getting lost for maybe a week or two, coming back out, and 50, 60, 100 years have passed, and they go back to their home claiming, I'm the Duke of wherever, and people laugh at them, think they're madmen and so forth. So you get lots of cool stories coming from the Wood Elves. I wish they were a little bit more active in some of the lore, but still very cool. So I've got a few people watching for the finals here, and this could be the final game of the stream. Over 2 fairly long stream sessions, one yesterday and one today. Who is your money on? I feel like I really want Zach Hussein to go with the Mass Vanguard build. I pray he does it. Praying he does go for that build. We will have to wait and see. Cool, just let them pick their armies. So there's quite a few new maps have been added as well. We have only chucked in the one today, I think. Possibly the one. I'm not sure if the one with the ridiculously long name is also a new map, because I haven't seen it before. But we'll be trying them out in future sessions. Now, we're not going to be having any videos out probably till Tuesday after this. I am working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday needs to be a bit of a recovery day, because I do, in fact, work nights, which kind of sucks a little bit, but at the same time, it pays more money. I would love to eventually do this type of thing as a job. Be very, very cool, but obviously we need to grow a lot bigger before that type of stuff even starts, being considered. So no questions for anyone? Should be all good. Just stretching. It's been a fairly chilled out day, but my throat now is getting really raw. Alpine Ridge, super fun map. Massive hill in the middle. Nice to see the two competitors trying to claw their way to the top of it. Lots of trees around the outside as well. And of course, you don't have to push for the hill. There's always this risk. Do I push for the middle, try and get that very juicy high ground? But at the same time, you can just sit back, flank around, shoot people off the top of the hill if they're not prepared. There's so many different ways you can play this map that I really quite like it. And it is a standard pick for our tournament. We always have it in the final round, normally as game 2 or 3. So I like to see the competitors crawl in their way to the top to try and claim that championship. Which should be all good. Now, the last thing I'm going to say is I've noticed it a lot of times, and you guys are probably getting sick, but if you do like in what you see and want to see more Total War content, please do subscribe. Super helps out. I believe we're up to 80 subscribers now, which is pretty damn cool. Trying to reach that 100 mark is the aim. And also, if you're enjoying the stream, please do leave a like. It really helps out. It is free of charge, of course. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, just hop over to Patreon. And while I think about it, just a big shout out to a few different YouTubers as well who help out with my channel. So Tzu Devil, who focuses on Dowie. So if you want to see some Dowie, I recommend going over there. That is TZU and then the word Devil. And Poison Ducky, who is a new YouTuber coming out the gate, so go over there and show him some love as well. And also, of course, a Rocker Boss who does really good breakdowns. And I believe I have a video on 2 of those channels, 2 out of the 3. So see if you can go find them. Looks like Console of Rome is ready. Just going to be waiting for Zach Hussein to start. I do very much enjoy the Wood Elves, so I'm hoping he brings the Vanguard build, but we'll have to wait and see. Console Rome, of course, loving those defensive armies, and Empire, one of those factions you can use in that style. I feel a lot of newer players also enjoy defensive, but if you look at Console of Rome, he is constantly moving his forces around and reacting to the way the opponent's attacking him, which is very key. It's not worth just setting up a nice defensive army and then not reacting quick enough. You have to be ready to react. So these are some good videos to watch these players play, and you'll be able to pick up a nice few hints and tips on the way, and that's how I did it. I used to watch, well I still do, watch a lot of Turin's videos, a lot of Italian Spartacuses, Dav's plays, all of these kind of very high elite players. And you can watch their play and just pick up little bits along the way, and it's the best way to learn, in my opinion, is to watch those videos and play games. And of course, I have plenty over on this channel as well, if you want to watch them. So, Console of Rome is ready. Just waiting on the Zach boy himself. So I believe in order of champions, we had Ben the Barman as champion of round number 1, Zach Bisane on number 2, we had Falcon at number 3, and Worshen number 4, who is going to be the ruler of them all. Zach Bisane put a lot of thought into his pick, which obviously he should do. Very competitive environment this. We are dead chill as far as tournaments go, however, it still, of course, is a fight to the top. When you are, good luck, have fun. Boom. Looks like these guys are ready to go. One final sip of water before we begin. And we are close, ready to rumble. Pretty damn excited. Let's see their builds. I'm really excited to see if he has this Vanguard build. Tim, have you seen the new unit that has the special left, right, left maneuver? I have indeed, Tim. I have indeed. So for those who don't know, Tim is a veteran player of Total War Games and is a master. Probably the best player I've ever seen play. But he doesn't play tournaments, unfortunately. So I don't know if any of you guys know him. He's pretty low-key, but he has invented this tactic called the left, right, left, which I can't delve into because he'd probably hunt me down and finish me off if I spoiled his secret plans. As you can see, both armies have loaded in now. And this could be the final game of the stream, just depending on what happens. Now, we do have 2 units of the Reichsguard, one of them being the Zintler's Reichsguard, Regiment Renowned version, very much like this pick up against the Wood Elves. A massive front line of Spearmen, for the most part, mixing with a couple of units of Swordsmen, very cheap and cheerful front line. And in the back, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crossbowmen here, trying to do that damage to those squishy elves. In the back, we have a Mortar, which is a nice pick, and a Celestial Wizard. Looks like he's going to have Wind Blast. Let's see. Yeah, Wind Blast and a Curse of Midnight Wind coming in with a Power Stone. And over on the other flank, another 2 units of Reichsguard. Really going to be trying to chase down those units. For his leadership, he has just gone for a basic General of the Empire. Consul of Rome, loving these cheap foot lords. Of the new patch notes making them all cheaper, he's going to be a very happy boy indeed. Now, over in the trees, it looks like he also has the Zintler's Reichsguard out there. They're going to get a very rude awakening early on. So, Zach Bisane's army, he has indeed bought Orion with the Vanguard, which is awesome. He now has Vanguard. Very cool Horn ability here, which gives plus 54% charge bonus. He's backed up by some Glade Riders over here and some Wild Riders in the tree who are going to have their fight, their work cut out for them. But if he gets that charge bonus, those guys will tear them apart. Now, for the rest of his army, he has gone for a mixture of Triads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the front line, backed up by a Branch Wave, who looks like he has the heal. Let's little look. He has Earthblood, Shield of Thorns, plus Pendulum, which is very good against High Elves. He also has a Scroll of Shielding. And in the back, he has Sisters of Thorn, Wild Hunters of Kurnos, now with their anti-large, which is very cool. So let's just check that. Yep, bonus versus large and magic attacks. And now they have their glowy little spears, which is actually a very cool addition. I really like that. And these guys, just look how badass they look thematically. They look very scary indeed. And also the Wardens of Sifril, who are, of course, able to Vanguard, Regiment Renowned Wildwood Rangers, anti-large, armor-piercing, very nice unit overall, and we are ready to get this battle underway. Should be interesting. This backline is going to be crumpled fairly quickly. Empire Knights, I believe, are going to be incredibly key in this. They need to beat down those Wild Riders, and Wild Riders can beat down Empire Knights, so they will need help from the Spearmen. Cool, just wish the competitors good luck, have fun. One last quick look at chat whilst we wait. Looks like we're all good. And we're good to go. So this could be the final game if Zach Bisane takes it, or is Consul of Rome going to drag it out all the way to the full-on funnel? Let's hope so. Let's hope we get one more game out of this. Cool, I believe both players are ready. So one little darting around. Reichsguard are moving around into some trees. And Glade Riders have been moved. Oh god, there's deployment being switched all over the place. So it looks like it's going to be overwhelming numbers. Orion has been switched to this flank where he's really going to try and crush in. So he's going to get this massive flank advantage. But he has misjudged where the Empire are going to deploy their forces. And this unit over here, Glade Riders, may be a little bit isolated. We do have Zintler's Reichsguard right over in the distance now, who are going to be miles away from the battlefield, unfortunately for them, trying to get some nice rear attacks. But Zach Bisane is ready, Consul of Rome is ready, and the battle is underway. And the massive Vanguard surges forward and into battle. Those Zintlers are going to have to move as quick as possible. Over in the trees, we could have an early engagement over here as well. Glade Riders have been set off fire at will, which is fantastic. Oh no, these Reichsguard are still hidden. So they are still hidden and even know where they are. The Dryads take a massive hit, looks like from the mortar, taking some huge damage, but they will chew through Swordsman fairly comfortably. We have some shots coming in from Orion here, who needs to really be switched to combat mode, get in there and do the business. So overrun and flank is coming in. Is Constable Rome going to be able to react quick enough and sort his formation out? Wild Rider, Sister's Fawn thinking of going in there before pulling back. They should probably hop in and start tearing apart these crossbowmen. Over in the trees, it looks like the Glade Riders have been spotted. They're going to have to be rather careful. There are some Wild Riders just enjoying the view from on top of the hill at the moment. The Zintler's Reiksguard are charging back. They'll obviously be trying to get a real attack on these Wild Riders if the Wild Riders aren't careful, and the mortar is firing in. Only one kill so far, but it looks like it's been doing a decent amount of damage. Shots firing in, doing decent, not too much damage to those Giants. It looks like it was a bit of a hit and a miss. So Orion coming in, looks like he's going to be casting down some spells on top of these crossbowmen. Little Hawk's Talons there doing a decent amount of damage as the rest of his forces do surge out. Now he needs to move much quicker, I think, than he is moving with this type of build. Get in there and start smashing up those crossbowmen as quick as possible. Don't let Consul Rome react at all. So Wild Riders have come charging through, and they're going to shut down this mortar fairly comfortably. Hagbane tips slowing down these Reiksguard, but it looks like they're going to get a decent rear charge. But a big pendulum coming down the line as well, doing decent damage to 2 units of crossbowmen. So this game is everyone's to play for at the moment. Although Sister Fawn are getting pinned down by his crossbowmen pretty handily. In the back, it looks like there's a big fight going on with the Reiksguard, who do have Curse of a Near pops on them, allowing these Wild Riders to gain the bonus here and really start slashing them out in the background. And the Wild Hunters of Kurnos getting in there with their anti-large damage, really tearing apart this Reiksguard, which is a very nice pick overall. They are forced to retreat, but the Shield of Thorns has also been popped down as well. So it's very interesting. I'm not sure whose favour this is going in so far. Possibly the Empire. They've managed to regroup fairly quickly. We have Zinler's Right Guard as well, who are finishing off some Glade Riders, which is a nice pick for them. And the Wood Elves are just struggling to break in and get to these archers. It looks like Consul of Rome did manage to rearrange fairly quickly. He was quite fortunate he deployed over on the right-hand flank instead of the left. And these crossbowmen now are getting back online, doing the damage they need to do. Big fight coming in the middle here. Orion is going to be an absolute beast of opponent. Of course, he has Cloak of Isha, so he can survive for ages. Trying to force his way onto that general of the Empire and bring him down. Wardens of Sephoru are getting in here, and they will easily chew through these swordsmen and such units, especially with the Wild Hunters coming in for a crashing charge. Looks like they were just chasing off possibly that unit of Reiksguard, although that could be them there as well. So overall, it's a fairly pitched battle at the moment. And we have Dryads coming up against Reiksguard, where they want to be, and Orion is trying to tank down the general of the Empire. We have Dryads just chilling up on the hill now. They really need to come back in, and the Empire have this massive strong pocket in the back here, really defending quite nicely. Wild Riders just chilling. Wardens of Sifra will hold down this position, but these Wild Riders are getting pinned in here. The Wild Hunters of Kurnos, not where they want to be, but a nice hound summon from Orion is doing a decent amount of job. Alright, looks like actually most of them were over here, hunting down that Celestial Wizard, which is actually a great position for them to be in. So they're going to be tearing him apart super quickly. You can see his health just chugging down, and he's going to be brought away. If Orion can also snipe out that general, which he is doing, there could be some huge leadership problems for the Empire. They got themselves in a fantastic situation, but they are slowly being dragged down by some of these elite units. Now, if I was exactly saying, take these Sisters of Thorn, they're super weak, just chase them down, use them to chase down the general of Empires. They're not going to make too much impact on the main battle here. We do have Wild Hunters chasing down units, and another Wind Blast coming in, doing huge damage to these Wardens of Sifril, really helping these Empire frontline troops out. And it looks like the mortar is back online as well, and that Celestial Wizard has managed to rally himself. This is such a pitched battle at the moment. I think the Empire is slightly in the driving seat, but the Wood Elves are really fighting back. Big Hawk's Talon coming as well, but great micro avoiding that with the crossbowmen. Now, the Sisters of Thorn are going to be popping on, hunting down these mortals, who I thought were back online, but they're actually missing their target here. Going to be getting thumped pretty damn badly, and the very beaten up Wardens of Sifril. There's a big Horn of Wild Hunt charge coming down, and as we can see, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos are taking great effect of that, breaking both of these units and trying to hunt down those Reiksguard, which is a perfect target for them. Orion is looking very fit and healthy here. Needs to get in there and start smacking up with these Zintlers. Now, where is the Empire captain? He's still not dead. He's being chased off. I would have chased him off with a much faster unit. The Branch Wave is going to be escorting him off the field, and as soon as he's gone, there's going to be a big penalty, of course, to the Empire. Of course, he is routing, so that's not good for them either. Big Wind Blasts coming in. These Wind Blasts have been absolute clutch, destroying the Dryads there, doing a great amount of damage. Now, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos have taken a huge amount of damage here. They've been mixing with Spearmen, trying to take down the Zintlers, who looks like they have completely destroyed. But they are down to 19, 18, 17, 16, 15 models. They're getting decimated now, and that could be a massive loss here, as they could be key for hopping on top of these crossbowmen. These droids up on the hill really need to run down and start shutting down and putting pressure on these crossbowmen, and these Zintless Reichsguard are going to be an absolute menace to pretty much everything that is left on the field. Empire Captain, however, is going to be escorted off very shortly, so it's going to be a bit of a leadership penalty. Everything else, the Will Elves are looking rather beaten up. These Reichsguard are going to be forced off by Orion. Droids trying to get in there and sort out these crossbowmen, but Zintless Reichsguard doing a fantastic job of slowing people down. Looks like we're getting another spell coming in, another Hound doing a decent job, but again, great micro by Consul of Rome using these crossbowmen to their best of their ability. So this is Fawn very beaten up now, and where are those Wild Riders? Are they completely off the field? Looks like they are over here rallying, but there's 4 of them, so they're not going to be any use. And that captain is going, and gone there. So he's completely gone. But that branch wave has an absolute trek ahead of him, trying to get back to this main force to help out. He really needs to team up with Orion now, form a little blob, form a little healing blob, and just try and tank him out. Orion is no small combatant. He will beat the crap out of these Zintlers if he's allowed to, and then, of course, it's just a chasing game with the crossbowmen. Dryads, though, doing decent micro across the field, chasing off spearmen here, chasing off these routing crossbowmen, which is some great value, but it looks like they may break themselves as power balance does slip away from them, and we have more Dryads chasing off crossbowmen over here. Now, Orion's coming in. He really needs to go toe-to-toe with these Zintlers, but they are not given the opportunity. Great micro by Consul, using them to run around instead to finish off these very beaten-up Dryad units. Wardens of Sithriel are shaken, in fact broken, facing down crossbowmen, but the crossbowmen themselves do break. Oh no, Wardens continue fighting, just 3 models left. Very glorious warriors there. We have the Wild Hunters of Colonels here, getting that charge bonus, trying to charge in and do some damage to these swordsmen who are wavering, and this battle is teetering on that knife's edge at the moment. It is so close, and the droids have managed to catch the Celestial Wizard, which is actually huge, because the Empire are really going to struggle with leadership now, and he is running for the hills. Orion throwing his shots in, doing some decent damage to the back of these Zintlers. He needs to find a way of shutting down these crossbowmen, but he doesn't have the units left anymore. The branch wave is running over, and as we can see in the background, Wild Hunters, even though there's only 4 of them, are chasing off these swordsmen. This is so close, both units trying to pick off troops where they can, but Orion is going to be taking a lot of shots from these crossbowmen, but they're not the best tool to deal with him. Celestial Wizard has rallied and survived, which could be key, keeping these Empire forces together. Orion is going to be one tough cookie that I'm sure he's going to be throwing in his spears now, going for those mad Kobe's, badoosh, skimming the Celestial Wizard there and almost breaking him. In fact, it does start to rout him. As you can see, the Empire is so fragile at the moment, whereas Orion is just going to be an absolute beast, chucking in a Kobe all directly into these spearmen here, driving them away as they are terrified. He really needs to unite with this branch wave, who's popped Foe Seeker to try and get over here a little bit quicker, who's, I'm sure, he came with the heals, didn't he? Yes, he's coming with an Earthblood. He could heal up Orion and really help him out here. Power balance, I think, is going to teeter back towards the middle as soon as Orion's Cloak of Isha is popped. I assume he's bought Cloak of Isha. It'd be disaster if he hasn't. No, he has got Cloak of Isha, which gives him 44 damage resistance, plus a massive hit points when he's below 20% health, which is going to be really key here. As soon as that is popped, this battle is going to turn, I think, in favour of the Wood Elves, which is a crazy comeback considering of how well Consul did at the start in pinging down some of those units. Big spear coming in, cracking on that horse again in the butt. And it looks like he's routing again, and he does completely shatter this time. This could be game-changing. He needs to finish off Orion now with the Zintlers Reichsguard, but Orion is anti-large, armor-piercing, causes terror. He's a beast in the night, and he's going to scare off those Zintlers. Now the power balance, oh, I realised I've been reading that the wrong way, is heavily in the favour, of course, of the Wood Elves now. I thought that was the other way round. And it's teetering more and more in his favour now, as Orion is going to be an unstoppable machine. And I think Consul of Rome has done all he can. These crossbowmen are going to kind of try and split up and shoot down Orion, but it's not going to be enough, especially if the Cloak of Isha is popped, which of course it will be. Let's see how much health Orion's on now. He's down to 1,000, and in comes a... oh, is that the Earthblood? Overcast by the branch wave here, and with him on the field as well, pimping up Orion, I don't think there's anything that can stop him. Yes, he can kind of dance around him with the crossbowmen as much as he wants. With all this healing, they're not going to do enough damage. They don't have enough kind of, you know, AP or anything to really get a hurt on him. Instead, he's going to chase them off and drop his spells when he can. So let's take account of what we have across the whole battlefield. With Wild Hunters and Colonels are very beaten up with 4 units, taking some shots, and they're probably driven off. In the background, 2 units, 2 people of the Wardens of Sifril holding the line, and in the background, some Dryads running off, and Orion. Now for the Empire, we have 3 units of Crossbowmen trying to get in there and do some work, unit of Spearmen, who's very beat up, and the Zintler's Reiksguard, who've done massive work, up to 132 kills, really doing the Empire proud this battle, and some great job and work chasing off Dryads, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We see a nice firing arc here by the Crossman coming into Orion, but Earthblood was still gone off, he was still been healed, and it looks like he has terrified these Spearmen, and he's got his 2 powerhouses back to back now holding the line. These Crossbowmen are not going to have a good day, but as soon as Orion charges in them, they start to waver instantly, and are no doubt going to break off the field. Looks like, and that is going to be game. So we do have an ultimate champion of Death Before Dishonour, and his name is Zach B. Sane. Super close battle there. That was on the knife's edge for the longest time. Let's just say GG to the competitors there. Say congrats to our champion. So, shouldn't have thrown away the mage in the end, I guess. Thanks. So, Zach B. Sane is the ultimate champion. GG to all our competitors there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in as well. You have all been fantastic. Let's just say good game for everyone else. I've just seen thanks for hosting from Ben the Bellman. No worries, my dude. I'm always happy to host. Thank you for playing, my dude. You are one true champion. Some super fun games. And Zach B. Sane takes the tournament in 2020. No worries, Constant Rome. Always happy to host, man. And these will be happening again soon. Within the next week or 2, we're going to be starting the cycle over again. Trying to get in 1 or 2 new players and some of the older guys. So let's just say peace out to our competitors. Peace out, man. And well done to Zach B. Sane, the ultimate champion. Give him a massive round of applause in chat. So guys, that is going to conclude the Death Before Dishonour Champion Special. Hope you guys have enjoyed. One last reminder, please do leave likes if you did enjoy, subscribe, and all that good standard YouTube stuff. As always, you have been awesome, and I'm going to leave that there. Peace out, guys. I will see you on the flip side.